Coffee and Cream on Hail Varsity Radio with Andrew Rogers and Damon Benning.
And here's a ball hit deep to center field. This might go. It's a goner. Dylan Carlson hits that way up on the batter's eye in center. The Cardinals lead 2-0. As Gore has allowed his 12th home run of the year. And for Carlson, that's number 4.
Pinsky so far with 6 changeups in the game. This one is belted toward the left side. That's through to left field. A base hit.
The stretch. There go the runners. The pitch.
Outside, he walked it. Matos can
Hop, skip, and jump to home plate. He was already celebrating before he tacked the plate. Schoch Peterson gets a bases-loaded walk to force in the winning run, and the Giants win their 9th in a row.
Cox rolls it left side, and Taylor goes, oh, wow. Man, cut it off, what an arm! Oh, man! For regional, he's off and running. This one is going to the gap. It's going to get down. One run's got to come in. Morgan's going to be held on an RBI single from Beloso to make it 1-0 Tigers. 1-2. That one was hung, and this one is shot to right field. That one is towards the wall. It's over. The eyes, the cognition, and the bat speed. His 8th grade coach said, that guy can play varsity for me right now. Leaves the yard.
Hey, good morning.
Hey, good morning.
Cream in the morning on Hail Varsity Radio, powered by Currency. DB's on one this morning. So everybody out there, be prepared for a great show.
Oh, man, I just like you. That's all.
We are live from the H&H Chevrolet stage at Hail Varsity Club. Happy to be joined by all of you this early in the AM. And I say this early in the AM because I know some people are still rolling out of bed. That includes my fiance, who likes to go work out in the morning and then decided, I'm probably going to sleep in.
Yeah, she's kind of a rail. So what's her workout routine?
Oh, she does it all.
She's
like
a runner by nature, right?
But she's kind of a strength builder now.
Oh, she likes the strength building.
Yeah, so
I like strength building.
She'll do it all from head to toe, but she gets up at 5:45 every morning normally, and today it was just like let there be light.
And God said, Shane, is this who's doing this? Is this Cam behind the scene? Like, who's doing this?
I know it's not you.
It's necessary.
It is? Do I look why? Because I'm not illuminating. I almost said something funny.
You almost said something.
It's too early for that.
Nah.
Shane, who made the executive decision?
I was just thinking Andrew had the 5 o'clock shadow going on there, and
I almost said something to him yesterday.
This is more like an 8 o'clock.
Now, time out. Because I'm going to give you. No, you're already pot committed, so however you look is however you look. But we were standing here because sometimes I feel like we're of the wrong gender because our goodbyes sometimes can be exceptionally long.
Mm-hmm.
Do with that what you will. But you said you were you were leaving like 4 different times, but we kind of just ended up talking over the table and stuff like this. And I knew I still had to do a couple of our podcasts. So we're standing over here by the double doors, and the light hit you just right. And not that I was like, oh man, that's a good looking guy or whatever. But you know what you should try? And I know people are going to give you a hard time. I know they will. You got to power through it. Because I had a summer beard too, right? Some hairs over here, some are there. It doesn't grow great. But you would look fantastic with just a little shadow of facial hair with like a beard. I'm dead serious. Because it was starting to come in a little yesterday, and I was like, man, they were giving him a hard time about it. I think it was severe that started on Twitter, and everybody had comments. And I was like, they're going to shame him into never growing any facial hair.
Everybody.
But I can't grow hair either. And I just like put my head down, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to have to be ugly for a while. And it took forever, like forever. Like I just can't grow hair, man.
No, nor can I.
But it would be
look at where I'm
no.
at.
But listen, let that thing come in. Just give it a chance. Unless Ashley's like, yeah, Andrew, I don't whatever her voice would be when she's whining and she doesn't like something, but
it's just patchy.
Who cares? It'll figure itself out. You got to get through it. Don't be so vain. I'm telling you, Okay, stop.
It does get itchy.
Stop. I get that. Stop looking at yourself. Stop it.
I mean, what are they going to get? What are they going to call you, Patch Adams over there?
Huh?
You said it was Patchy.
You ever seen that movie? You're so bad, Shane.
Come on, Shane.
So Shane's
He's
on
doing some good things.
Yeah, Shane's on a little bit of a high because, people tell me on.
Oh,
social
come on,
media,
Shane.
Out at the grocery store and stuff, they love Shane
Shane's your
Schillerberg.
favorite.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes. People love Shane, and I was
Why
like,
the fuck is Shane walking in
I
there?
said, I don't know what kind of skeletons you have in your closet. Like, if you got some federal cases or something that you beat, like maybe you can't win office, but you may be able to unseat Mayor Stothert because he's very popular.
It sounds like a huge waste
and
of
he
time.
goes, and I go, and so this is before you got here, so I just totally went into character, like Shane being at like a town hall debate, and they're like, Shane or Mr. Schillerberg, these potholes in the street, and we're paying these taxes, and I mean, can you address that situation from a budget standpoint? And Shane would be like, yeah, well,
He'd be a perfect political candidate because
he's a human filibuster. I was like, Shane, you would win the election.
I'd be like,
Shane would
do
be
I
like,
have to write stuff down?
Yeah, looking over his seat. They're like, hey, somebody get that guy a booster seat. You can barely. I'm glad Zoe is grown now, or bigger, because those booster seats, man, they're a hazard. The wooden ones that you strap yourself into, it's like, basically sitting on the floor because it's so hard. And the little plastic ones, I mean, you have to have like the perfect.
So are you talking high chair or are you talking
So they both suck. The high chairs are not good. They're not comfortable. But the booster seats are like you're in no man's land because have you ever seen little kids that are sitting at the table and they're like trying to eat their but anyway, I don't even know why.
The booster seats are like
it was basically because when Mayor Stothert goes to talk at the podium and the next person that speaks has to adjust the microphone. Can you imagine how long that would take, Shane?
Well, he would be like, no.
He said, come around so you can get my good side. I know you can't see me over this thing.
Well, first he'd be walking up just vaping every 4 seconds.
Dude, did you like that whole explanation yesterday? When you asked him about that, I'm like, we'll be here all day.
That thing went.
I go, Shane, why is it that every 2 seconds you bring that vape to your
So
mouth?
when you were out there vaping, Shane, he literally watched how quick you vaped.
And I counted. I go, DB, look, every 2 seconds he'll bring that back up. You go up, and I go
119.
1, 2. And it was clockwork, man. It was clockwork.
Sometimes you just look at me and you're like, I can't believe this dude is supposed to be smart. Because I know yesterday I said something pretty stupid, right? Like I'm glad you didn't hammer me over it, but I did not know that when you vape, there's nicotine.
Yeah.
I said actually 2 stupid things yesterday, the whole wedding thing was not my fault.
That was so funny.
That was not. Listen,
JP lost his mind,
and Jacob doesn't even laugh like that.
Right.
Like he had to get his composure.
He had a belly laugh.
I'm like, I came in late, and your delivery made me think. I don't know. It was dumb.
It was shock. I mean, if it was mine, I would be shocked too.
Guess what though? When I say something like that and I'm out of pocket, I'm going to own it.
Yeah,
I won't.
As you should. That's funny.
I'm not going to hem-haw around.
I join conversations late all the time. I also don't listen all the time, and I admit it. You'll be talking to me, and I'll be like,
dude, "Now that is unreal."
I just didn't hear a word.
I can't imagine being Mary-Kate and Ashley because you don't give a what. Like when you zone out, it's over. It is over.
You could just take things.
So how about this? My sarcasm behind the scenes of why this thing is so dysfunctional. There are times, radio listeners, that I just say, okay, whenever you're done, you can get back to me. You won't even.
And that's what I hear though. Like that's the point. Because then I'm like, oh man, you messed up. Like,
you just missed like 4 minutes because you're sitting right next to me. I assume like you can multitask.
Well, so like, let's just say I'm invested in the Titanic summary, which I
heard noises.
Right? And I'm just sitting at my laptop and I'm scrolling and I'm reading things and then I'm watching videos. 4 minutes later, I find out DB's been talking to me,
Yeah,
and he just says, because I haven't responded, hey, when you're done, just give me a shout. And that's the part I hear.
Yeah. Oh, you're like, oh, sorry. What'd you say?
Why is that the part I hear?
I don't know. Because you're used to. I don't know. You're used to shutting folks out, kind of like LSU did Tennessee.
Yeah,
dude, that was pretty impressive. What a slow grind.
Are we now going to?
Dude, how many days in a row can LSU play?
That for one,
it could be as many. It could be as many as 4.
That for one is something
they're
to
2 in a row now.
Consider, but 2, are we ready to shut down the narrative that LSU doesn't have starting pitching after Skeens?
No.
I mean, it's been good enough, right? Those guys,
I mean,
a quarter of those guys in the dugout didn't even know he was starting.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying. We were talking about starting Riley Cooper.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you get new face, 6 innings. How many Ks? Didn't he have like 10 Ks?
Yeah. Oh, he was rolling. Ackenhausen.
Well, in Tennessee's
whiskey
inability
to
hit for contact caught up to him.
Dude, no worse than Oral Roberts.
Well, that too. But they have been majority of this year stringing together hits. And when Cox kind of fell off, the whole team started to fall off.
So 2 things in that. The weak swings in crucial situations, not even, I always say good wood. It's not good wood. Good composite.
We got good wood on that.
Good, says the Rogers with no D. All
right, 4 minutes. Gonna go clean your car?
Dude, first, I can't even tell that story on air.
Nope.
He's so bad. But anyway, just the weak swings from, I'm like, this just is not going to be their day. The coolest thing about yesterday was Coach Sarlus
taking off the headset and going to talk.
Oh, how about him just casually navigating his way through the interview while challenges and anarchy are happening? Balk, no balk. Yeah. He goes, hey, is there something I need to know, guys? Hey, get back to me.
He comes back with, hey, should I go challenge?
Hey, guys, what are you seeing here? Tell me something I need to know. And then the other thing was the review with the double tag out with the forced runner.
That was weird.
He was as cool as a cucumber until they said, runner at third is off the bag. He is out. He just calmly takes the headsets off. I'm like, I could hang out with that guy. Yeah. Like, he would not pour me a flat ginger ale. He would make sure my ginger ale had some bubbles.
And some color.
You know,
because the last one you had did not have color.
Yeah, but you know what I figured out? Oh, I guess all those little things have keys.
Yeah, but I don't think it was the keys that didn't give it the color. I think it just didn't have enough syrup in it.
Pardon?
Syrup, as in the soda mixture.
Oh, so they all have syrup in there? Oh, man.
How in
their
that?
own individual bags?
I thought the ginger ale was different.
I don't think so.
Oh, man, I may go.
No big deal.
All right, see you later.
You know, this whole time I thought I was beating the system.
By drinking things.
Why would I think that ginger ale
color?
would be, why would I think ginger ale would be different because it's not colored?
Well, it is kind of like a golden
Yeah,
color.
but you said it still has syrup.
Well, Sprite has syrup.
Yeah, I'm out now. I'm kind of mad.
You're mad. Come on, Shane.
You're mad.
No, I think I feel some type of way now.
Educated. That's how you feel.
Cut it out.
Right? Is that a no?
I don't know.
Hey, I was at softball last night, and we were playing the number 1 team. Our team's like so-so. I think we're 500. And these guys took it so seriously.
Oh, there are those teams. Did they have matching uniforms?
They all had the same T-shirt.
Okay,
yeah.
cool. Were they like tie-dyed? Did they have funny?
Nope,
did they have funny
blue,
names on the back?
Baby blue. They were called
Hit stick.
Something.
Pinky's Pearls.
Yeah, no, they were called like the Rookie Royals or the Rookies Royals.
Okay, we don't.
Like that.
Shout out to them. We don't want to put anybody on blast for having fun at co-ed. I used to be that guy.
Oh, I'll put somebody on blast.
What? What's wrong with you?
Oh, let me tell you what's wrong with this game. So I'm a very
principled person.
I'm a very cool, calm, collected individual when I'm playing.
Not true.
Absolutely. I stay quiet.
You're mean-spirited. You cussed me out in probably 6 meetings.
No, normally I stay quiet. But if you're going to talk a lot of smack.
Oh, here we go.
Hey, you unleash the floodgates.
Oh, here's softball guy.
So we had too many guys because on our roster initially,
I know
we had like 7.
You had the I'm gonna come along because you're using my partner guys.
Well, no, it was more we needed subs throughout the year, so our so-called captain had guys sign up.
You just dropping air quotes out.
Well,
Mr. Leader.
Jack does bring the book.
having us bat 11. Love the extra out, but way to be the peacemaker.
You can only bat as many guys as girls as you have.
Correct.
So we only had 5 girls, so 2 guys couldn't bat.
Okay.
And so I chose.
Why would you hit 12?
Anyway,
used to drive me crazy, but that's okay.
Not a huge fan. Like,
okay,
it's
keep
just
going.
More for a sub reason.
Hey, Nightbird Shane, it's okay.
So I chose not to hit, and I just said, hey, I'll play the field. Like, I just won't sit. I'll play the field, and then those that hit and play the field can alternate when they.
Oh, Mr. Even Steven, good on your mom.
But I prefer to play the field over hitting anyway.
I love the duality of your DNA. I know when I'm talking to your mom, and I definitely know when I'm talking to Barry.
So these guys start talking a bunch of ish, and they're taking pitches. Like in slow pitch, I get it, like wait for your pitch, but guys are walking, and I'm like,
yeah, you feel some type of way?
I'm like, come on, guys, swing the bat. Like we're here to it's a rec league. Like we're not here for a real trophy. You're drinking beers. We're drinking beers. Like, we're having a good time.
This is not Drake trophies.
So these guys are taking pitches.
It's a shame we can't play music.
And then they're complaining about it. Like the umpire wasn't calling the high strike. Like
a lot like the first game yesterday.
Yeah, a little bit like that.
It's a crazy strike zone.
So,
but I like that.
And then they're like saying things to our pitcher. Our pitcher's saying things
like belly itcher.
No, like. Just back and forth things to the point where we're just like, okay, now we actually care. Like this game,
they weren't hitting metal and stuff like that, were they? Comebackers back at the pitcher.
Yes, no, not like that.
Okay.
So we were behind most of the game. I think we were down 3-0. Then it was 3-2. They go up 6-3, and then. The 7th inning rolls around. We're the away team. We have a really good lineup coming up. And I am bought in at this point. Like, this is end of the game. I want to win this game so bad.
I've seen this guy. So this is the guy that gets bothered in a meeting, and then we have to have 45 minutes of competitive talks.
I go and be third base coach.
Okay, yeah.
And, man, I was so supportive, so enthusiastic.
Oh, my gosh. I'm talking to a nerd.
First pitch double, right?
Yeah. Runner on second.
Runner on second. And then our second batter. No, first pitch single, second batter double. But I held him up.
First and third. Right. You need 3.
No, so it was second and third. Okay. So we could have sent her on the way home because she probably had she probably would have gotten safe. But I'm like, nobody out. Yeah. We have Joey coming up. Joey's our best hitter. Yeah. So I'm like, I'm thinking analytically for this whole thing.
Play for the big inning.
Because people are like, no, send her. I'm like, no, we have nobody out.
Good job, coach.
So
put me in. Are you guys listening to this? I'm totally just giving you the floor. Inside, I'm chuckling.
So Joey ends up coming to the dish.
Do you call him Joey, or is he not Joe?
No, he's Joey.
Okay. Okay. Votto still calls
Ropes
Joey.
a double down the right field line.
Okay.
Score 2 runs. We had tied the game at this point.
Okay, so it's 6-6 with a runner on second.
With a runner on second.
Nobody
one
out. Okay, 1 out.
Okay, ground ball to the right side. Joey goes to third. 2 outs.
Okay.
Next batter, liner to left. We take the lead. Okay, 7-6. And so we go out into the field. Mind you, they have girls on their team that played softball. They have guys on their team that obviously played baseball.
Everybody needs an Amber Lutmer. We had her too.
But at one point in that inning, when we were hitting, dude at third base was talking the most-ish.
Yeah.
He made an error that extended the inning. Funny how baseball
You're like, oh, shoot, man. Is this Braden Taylor?
No, he wasn't doing any spinneroos. So
Taylor is a
we
stud.
get into the field.
TCU is silly.
And first batter hits one to the wall. Okay.
To the window.
But it goes under the fence.
To the wall.
So
Did you
he's
throw
on
your
his way
hands
to
up?
third. Girls are out there throwing their hands up like, hey. Get up, baby. So we had to go back to second, but they easily reached under and got it.
Mm-hmm.
So now these guys are like, anytime the ball goes to the fence, we're just going to throw our hands up. And this is now they're acting because they know that they're about to lose.
Okay.
They know they're about to lose.
Okay.
And we make some plays in the field, win 7-6, go through the handshake line.
Oh, no.
Get into the dugout. I'm changing my shoes. And at this point, I just let it go.
Do you wear white cleats?
No.
Okay.
Black.
Okay. Good
do
call.
Do I scream a white cleat to you?
Yes. Yeah. You ooze white cleat guy.
I don't know. I feel like I'd be like lime green, if anything. So I'm in the dugout. I'm putting my shoes on.
I can't believe this is the first segment.
Yeah, this is good. I'm putting my shoes on, and I just start dropping F-bombs. So excited.
Oh, the real potty mouth Andrew comes out. Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. I just
the guy that cusses when I'm on my way to the bathroom.
I'm like, let's bleep and go. This was bleeping awesome. We took it to him. Like, I'm just like, guys, way to bleep and do it. And
I don't know if I could like you if we didn't work together.
I had to really calm down there because I could have dropped an F-bomb on air.
Yeah. It's okay.
Yeah, we can say it once. Or Shane can move really slow like a sloth
as
in
close
Zootopia
as you and Bill are. He could probably work it out for you.
And so, yeah, we won the game 7-6. And my buddy, who is the prospects guy that I was telling you about.
Baseball that you could coach with?
He goes, and that's why you're penciled in to coach this fall.
You're the try hard, root hard guy?
Oh, I'm for the team.
I got one of my guys that made a tough decision. He's not going to play prospects this fall. He's going to play football. Yeah. And I told Coach Queen the other day.
You said one of your guys, so West
Side, yeah.
Okay.
And he's dual sport guy, really good player. And he's a natural. So sometimes you have those coaches that are they're pot committed to what you do in the offseason. Hey, you got to be with us in the offseason. You got to be with us in the offseason. And some people say they're dual sport schools until you don't choose their sport, right? But Nick he's a baseball guy first. But he's a great kid. Like, I've liked him from the jump because he and Caleb have been thick as thieves since their freshman year. So I got to know Nick. Like, he was with him. If he wasn't with the Rezacs, he's with Anglem. And I used to always tell Nick, I was like, hey, man, you could really be good at football. But he's not your prototypical size. He's a little bit of a squatty body. And he was a really good baseball player. So there was always this guilt kind of that I carried in internally. Like, I felt like I was, man, if he really likes baseball, and he's coming off a back fracture, he had the same injury as Slob, and I'm like, if he's gonna be a baseball guy, but then he turned out to be one of our best defensive players last year, and arguably our best outside linebacker. And he says last week that he's not playing fall baseball. He wants to try to play football. I called Coach Queen immediately, and I was like, hey, do you know what Anglem said? I feel relieved that I wasn't cheating him out of his baseball career. He wants to play football. I feel so good. Queen's up on the other line, like, dude, finish grocery shopping, hang up the phone, man. You're driving me crazy.
He's like, hey, TV. He plays offense.
Yeah. Yeah, this is just story time on Coffee and Cream, man. We'll get to sports.
Will we?
Kind of. Well, we're kind of talking sports.
Yeah. Softball, slow pitch.
It's a big day.
We'll be back.
Rogers and Benning will be back in 5 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 4 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 3 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 2 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 1 minute. Rogers and Benning will be back in 30 seconds. Coffee and Cream with Rogers and Benning on Hail Varsity Radio.
DB, look what you started.
I know. Listen, man.
My sister. First I'm going through my Twitter notifications because I'm.
By the way, welcome back. And yes, Drew Down is mad. Get him, Drew.
I saw what B was writing, then I saw what you responded to, and then all of a sudden I'm like, Emily Rogers followed me. Well, that's my younger sister. And I'm like, so I go to her page. I'm like, it's got to be spam, right? And it says join June 2023.
Well, that's pretty recent. It's June.
The calendar.
Let's go.
Like, it's June 2023. And then I'm like, okay, following 4. And the 4 people she's following, 2 of them are me and Hurrdat Sports. Yep. And I'm like, okay, maybe they're like doing this because my mom wanted to like watch us on Twitter because it's easier than going through you. I'm trying to process why a page was made, and all of a sudden I see a tweet sent to Hurrdat Sports from my sister that says, with all due respect, Mom and sister agree Andrew cannot and should not grow a beard. This is on you.
I'm here for the petty.
She created a Twitter just to let us know that.
Yeah, well, you know what? I'm Team Emily now. I'm Team E Molly Molly.
What is happening today?
It's a family show.
What is going on?
You know, Mary J. Blige.
I feel like Ashton Kutcher is going to come through the doors.
Yeah. So
is this punk?
You gotta give it a chance, man. Like, give it a chance. Just go dark. 0 dark 30. Just go Jack Bauer, LeBron James.
Will I ever get like our friend Uber driver?
No, he's nuts. I'm telling you. I'm still mad about the Fit soda. It's the cases just keep rolling in. Like, damn. This god dang Fit soda. No, so listen, I'm here for a family affair. Okay? Like this it's all part of the plan. Right? Give it a chance. Just LeBron playoffs, Jack Bauer 24, just go 0 dark 30, disappear for a little bit. Right?
Tom Hanks Castaway. We can
pull a DB. Don't give a what if you're on camera or not. Make the boss say get on camera. Hide out. Come back and like it'd probably take you 6 months. Come back, have that thing just a nice little 5 o'clock shadow, and everybody's gonna be, oh my gosh, why are you doing radio? You should be back on television. You watch.
Yeah, I got the face for radio.
Yeah. Out of breath. Brian was like, he's trying to get me to reconcile that I have potty mouth, foul mouth teammates. That's fine. By the way, when Jason came to Peter, when he came to talk to our team a couple weeks ago, I was cringing. I was like, oh my gosh, you can't say that. You can't say that. Can't say that either. Ooh, not sure how that's gonna land. He can't help it though. It's unapologetically who he is. You, on the other hand, look like you should be babysitting the neighborhood kids. Like, you look like a choir boy. There's this thing to you about you're so gosh darn principled. It's like the things that you get mad at. It's like good guy stuff. Like, you're like Chucky, the good guy doll. But then when you get mad, it's like,
I'm Chucky with the knife.
Yeah, all these profanity-laced tirades come out, and you're like mad for hours. I'm like,
some things just hit me different.
Chill. It's okay that he cut you off going 59 in a 55.
Oh, speaking of
he should have got over. It's okay.
Are
like,
you reading my mind this morning?
Dude,
I got cut off on the way in.
I know your personality.
Some dude in a big red truck thinks he's all that. Cuts me off on the main road here on Giles.
Yeah.
I lay on the horn.
See?
I lay on the horn.
See? Shane, do we need to tell Andrew that road rage is up 150% in 2023?
Let's tell Omaha to be better drivers.
Was the Omaha plates?
I think you were trying to tell him to be a better
Nebraska.
driver.
I don't know. I would assume that.
Well, you'd know if it wasn't Douglas County if they had a number.
It started with a Y like my plate.
Oh, yeah, they're here. They're local. They're local.
Mm-hmm.
Should know better.
No, yeah. Trust me. The plate right here.
That I talked to my. Should we do sports? Well, let's get to Michigan last
because I don't know if he's going to talk sports yet.
There's no failure in sports, Eric.
Is Eric with an A or an E?
Eric
Gilbert?
I don't know, but with the draft tomorrow, Shane, we got an NBA guy tomorrow. We're just here to keep you entertained. It's summer. This is what we do.
We'll work on it. I mean, I can't text him now.
This is funny. It's not, hey, yeah, I'll get it. We'll work on it.
Yeah. Is it ever an easy answer with numbnuts?
You are the mayor. Like, why aren't the potholes fixed yet? We're working on it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, well, you know. Shane, punch up the Ann Arbor lover.
I'm working on it.
Well, hurry it up. Michigan Lance, good morning, man. What's up?
What's up, man?
Man, good morning, fellas. I was listening to you this morning, man. And,
we got issues. We got issues.
I'm sorry?
We got issues, man. We got a lot of issues.
No, man, just when you asked him what he said, and Andrew was like, Sierra. And I was like, okay, DB asked him because of the way he pronounced it. You were like, man, I didn't know they put that in there. I'm like, I've never heard nobody pronounce syrup.
Hey, I'm not from the north.
What is going on here?
I'm not from the north. My dad says syrup.
Wait, what?
My dad says syrup. I believe my mom says syrup.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not picking between those two because there's individual.
Now I don't say like worse or anything.
There's
like
individual traits I like about both of them. So it's a tie. It's a tie.
Well, how do you feel about earn? Earn your clothes.
Ashley, my fiance says on, like, oh, turn the TV on. I'm like, on? I mean, on?
I feel like we're being kind of judgy. Is that just me?
No, we are, man. I just thought that was funny, man.
Hey,
yeah, man. I just want to.
So here's the thing. In my defense, since both of you yahoos are implying I'm pretty dumb, I don't drink fountain soda.
Not once.
I don't drink fountain soda.
Yeah, I don't either.
So, like, I don't get the whole hookups, and I've seen people change them. I didn't even know
boxes.
I didn't even know you needed a goddamn key, right? I'm like clicking this thing, and it's
you
not going.
threw me off with that. I didn't know nothing about no key.
And Cam was
with the key.
Cam was like, "Hang on, did you turn the key?" And I was like,
"Yeah, the key on the side of the box."
Yeah, I have no idea. But anyway, with ginger ale, I feel like I purchased ginger ale online from places up north, like Michigan.
Is it?
Yeah, so there's a place there's a place up north in Michigan that is the birth of a certain ginger ale that I like. I'm a big ginger ale guy. So when you talk about like,
can you say the brand?
I can't remember the brand.
Right.
I can't remember the brand.
Okay. You like it that much?
It's delicious. But I can't remember. Like, listen, man, do you guys not know, like, there's a lot going on? I'm trying to figure out if Scoot Henderson is really going to be a better pro
number 2
than Victor Wembanyama. All right? Like, I don't have time to worry about ginger ale. I'm still wondering why Andrew is so annoying playing softball. Like, my mind is blown.
No, I'm not annoying.
I'm laughing that his sister created a Twitter account just to needle him.
Do you believe the hype? Do you guys believe the hype on Victor? I was like,
I don't listen.
Let me say this.
I'm on record. I'm Team Micah Benning here. I don't like Wembanyama's frame. I don't.
Me neither. I'm with you. I 100%.
But
agree.
he has one. Yeah, maybe. But he has one of the best coaches on the planet. So I give him a little wiggle room.
I don't know if he's going to hold up, Micah. Man.
I like his character.
We'll see. Because
what?
Well, what about James? Like, they're talking about the best. He's better than LeBron. I'm like, man, better than LeBron.
Yeah,
like
not there.
LeBron was, top 2 as a junior, man. Like, I understand he's playing professionally in Europe, but come on, man. Yeah, like those guys' workout regimens aren't that great.
You guys got me you got me shook on the whole syrup thing. I didn't even hear that. I need to go back and get that on.
Man,
audio.
I was like, what is Andrew talking about?
Guys. Yeah.
Look. Hey, listen. Vesuvius is starting to rumble here. Like, let's let him simmer down.
And Pompeii's about to get covered.
Man, I watched the thing on TikTok.
How does DB have a secret ginger ale place? Like,
that's what I'm thinking.
I'm ordering. This man is ordering ginger ale,
but he doesn't know where.
I love ginger ale.
He doesn't know what it's called.
I get it on every flight. This man said.
So, like, I do know the difference between like Canada Dry and Schweppes
and Walmart brand.
I would see. Listen, ginger ale is a lot like cheese. You can't buy it plain label.
Yep, because those are
most definitely.
It's like cheese, toilet paper. There is no plain label. Okay.
Hey, paper towels.
So,
Vernors.
What is it?
Is it Vernors?
That's exactly what it is. That's the ginger ale.
It's owned by Dr. Pepper.
It's produced in the north, right?
Yeah.
Now, see, Detroit. Now I'm gonna have
Detroit.
To
that's it. Hey, high five,
DB.
Hurrdat. Hey, guess what, Michigan Lance? I like ginger ale from Michigan a lot more than I like your Michigan takes. By the way, my mom yesterday, she finally got out of the house. She said, "Yeah, I went to my doctor's appointment. That was so nice what Michigan Lance said." I was like, hashtag fail.
Lance, appreciate you, man. We'll be back.
Not.
Rogers and Benning will be back in 4 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 3 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 2 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 1 minute. Rogers and Benning will be back in 30 seconds.
Ooh, Jacob Godman gets.
The bottom of the ninth.
Coffee and Cream with Rogers and Benning on Hail Varsity Radio.
And we're back. Coffee and Cream in the morning on Hail Varsity Radio, powered by Currency TV. Andrew Rogers, Shane Schillerberg.
My buddy just happens to be one of my lawyers. He is a trip.
Is this Creighton guy?
Yeah, Mr. NIL. The Albion Mafia. That guy.
Oh.
What? This dude.
What do you say?
Oh, like you need backstory, but he just
being
just
being funny.
Just dealing with Wake Forest baseball somehow. Like it's weird how he gets pulled into things. He's hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. They did a fundraiser for the NIL at Creighton. They had it at Let It Fly on Friday. And I was like, hey, what happened, to my reminder? And he's like, oh, my kiddo's golfing, this, that, and the other. And I was like, oh, hey, how'd he swing it? He's like, oh, he's going to be pretty good. Just his next couple of responses, I was like, you know what? I feel like Michigan Lance when he said, how do you feed people are rich? Those aren't rich people problems.
Yeah.
I was talking that.
Rich people,
my buddy AC, and I was like, yeah, those are just things I probably won't ever have to worry about, man. But I'm cheering for you, AC.
Yes, indeed.
Oh man.
Oh, shoot. I mean, some of us we just live in different worlds. By the way, funny story is do you want to set the lineup or should I set the lineup?
Well, I was about to, but
go ahead.
I want to hear your funny story now.
Yeah, it's not that funny.
Andy Kendeigh We're talking to him at 8:30, sports director at KETV. He's a Wednesday staple every other week.
Will AK have to cover some announcements coming up this week, do you think?
I am guessing that
Probably
you will hear something in the news.
Hey, I'd like to run out to such and such, and I can't wait to see those guys.
Did you see the TikTok I sent you, by the way, about the news girl?
I watched it. She cussed. So do you think she got fired?
Oh, yeah.
That's not her fault.
Why?
Okay, listeners. If you're cutting I don't want to be on camera. If I wanted to look outside it, who's texting you, Sasha? Oh, I gotta be nice to Cam. Not that I dislike Sasha, but Cam is my dude. I don't want to mess. Cam's practically babysits me. Sorry, Cam Bam. I'll get back on camera. But listen, I probably knocked that over laughing. If somebody says something off air, like one time I said something about Bill Moose, I was like, God, what a ding dong, or something like that. I said after something he said, and I thought we went to break, and Shane didn't kill our mics, and so somebody ding dong me. Somebody DM'd me and were like, God, did you just call Bill Moose a ding dong? And I was like, Shane. Like, I was mad at Shane.
Let's get over that.
I know, Kim. I probably should have got over that. Like, that. So what happened? So that I understand. That's on me, right? Like, all right, give it another 30 seconds before I have a meltdown over the whole Oklahoma scheduling thing. Because that's what it was, full disclosure. But this is different, right? You're having a take. She's cutting a clip. She messes up. She says an expletive. And your production crew still rolls that thing, that's on them. It's not the same as not hitting a button for a hot mic. Because, do your job.
Okay, so at least in this scenario, because they were tossing to a package, it wasn't live.
You have time to get it right.
But in this situation, here's what I don't know. I don't know if she was the editor or if somebody else was. And
if she was the editor and she screwed up her own thing, okay.
Well, because you could be moving. I mean, I remember being pressed for time. Like, you got to get it in before the 5 o'clock newscast. You're just trying to go really fast. Maybe you put that stand up in thinking that was the right one based on the time code, and you messed up because you it was a stand up because she redid it and said 3, 2, 1. That's how news reporters work.
Do you want
stop it?
Do you
count
want
back down? Do it again.
Do you want my Don Benning line? The WWDB as opposed to
go ahead. What would Dom do?
What would my dad say to me? I guarantee, because I've heard it 1,000 times. Your lack of time management doesn't make it my emergency.
You're dang right.
Don's a smart man.
Your lack of time management does not make it my emergency.
So sometimes I will argue that in the news because you are at the mercy of other people a lot.
I understand.
Because if you're like, hey, I said this interview for 2.
Did she seem pressed for time when she's dropping expletives? No, she chuckled and she's like, Jiminy.
Right. But I mean, the editing purpose behind it. That's what takes majority of the time versus the actual stand-up. But the reason that she's still at fault is because her face is attached to it.
That's fine.
Regardless.
That's fine.
Whether somebody at the station messed it up,
somebody says it's going to have to roll.
She's still going to be the one that has to fumble.
I don't subscribe to the method, but
I don't subscribe to a lot of methods of firing.
It's okay.
But it just happens to go that way. Anyway, we can ask AK about it. See if he's ever had a slip up whenever he
he's kind of, so I think the thing that makes him really good, AK, is he's kind of loose. He's not. He's very he comes across as just very off the cuff and free flowing. So I imagine that's probably happened to him a time or two.
I don't know. Did I ever get caught in a mix up like that where I said something?
Shane, I've said some things. I remember one time on the Big Ten? I remember one time on the Big Ten Network, I said, "What I say, Shane? Continued."
I don't have the clip. There's something about sex.
I think I said continued good sex or continued success. And I meant to say success. I was talking to Coach Blank.
Yeah, I fumbled words like
I'm
that.
all about
having some guys,
That wasn't even me.
Huh?
No, that was Andrew.
Yeah.
I'm all about having some guys. You know.
Yeah.
Oh, am I?
Yeah.
Shane? Am I?
I have a question though. Who were you liking in? So the funny story was actually the barber story,
Right.
About
and we are talking to Jeff Cardozo today at 8:45.
So Jeff just moseyed on into the barbershop.
Florida baseball broadcaster, for those that don't know.
Friday on a humbug. Nice, this good-looking guy comes in. He's underneath the ball cap. He's with this young man who has some Florida gear on. And I think I told the story. This was on air, right? Or was it off air?
No, I don't know.
You know, the barbershop gets all sorts of different clientele, but this one was a little different. And he says, "Hey, do you guys take walk-ins?" And my barber was like, "No, you know, such and such through such and such days were appointment only." So he asked his buddy Jay, the new barber, who's fantastic, you know, if he had any time. And Jay's like, "Hey, I'm not open until 1:45. Could get you in then." And this gentleman was like, "Hey, do you know of any other barbers?" And so we were just at Let It Fly that morning.
Mm-hmm.
I said, "Hey, right around the corner in the Capital District, there's this barbershop. You can see the pole going.
The candy cane pole?"
Yeah. And he says, "Oh, okay. Well, we'll see what we have for time. I got to get ready for a broadcast." And my barber's like, "Broadcast?" He goes, "What do you do?" Because my barber's super friendly. And he's like, "Oh, yeah, I'm in radio, work for the Florida Radio Network." And he goes, "You're a radio guy?" He says, "He's a radio guy." And he like he points at me.
And you're in the chair with the tarp on, like.
Right. Big old head trying to get my edge. Right. And it's like, oh, this guy's like, he's probably already uncomfortable. So we joke. And I was like, "Yeah, I'm such and such." He's like, "Oh, I'm such and such." And I was like, "Hey, see you upstairs, you know, later on." And he's like, "Yeah, you know." So my first question, "Hey, did you get the haircut?" It's just weird that he's on the show now. Like,
right.
Like, what are the odds?
It's pretty funny. So he'll be on at 8:45 with us. And then Steven Schoch, one of my favorites, a big college baseball personality.
Big donkey.
At Big Donkey 47.
So as I described it, right, when we talked to Coach O'Brien, he's employed by UVA?
I don't know.
Because he said in the interview, remember,
right. Mm-hmm.
Coach O'Brien was like, "Hey, you know, I'm so glad we brought him back into the fold. He's good for college baseball." So is he
So he does his own podcast. He's a host of the Schoch Factor. He is a D1 baseball personality in moments like this. Like, he does video work for them. Last year, he was a realtor.
Kelly Clarkson, right? Forget it.
Since you've been gone?
Moment like this. It's okay.
Last year he was a realtor.
Exactly.
So
I bet Emily would have known.
I don't know if he's probably.
You mad?
No.
Shane, you think Andrew's mad?
I'm actually curious to know why you know.
You mad?
I used to watch.
Are you mad?
I used to watch what's
The Voice?
no, American Idol.
The very first season?
I watched probably the first 6 or 7.
I mean, that was the thing.
I think the last season I watched start to finish was probably the guy that sang the Superman song.
Oh, Chris Daughtry.
Yep. So whenever that was he before or after the gray-haired guy, Shane? I know you know.
I don't know.
Who's the gray-haired guy?
You know, this is what we dream about. Do I make you proud? Do I make you proud, guy?
I don't know.
Yeah, you're gritting your teeth. You know, you didn't even try. You're just cutting me off. You didn't even try. That was so phony.
What, Adam Lambert?
Miranda?
Not Miranda.
Shane, who's the gray-haired guy that everybody thought was older than he really was? Taylor Hicks.
Oh,
I think a new game we should have. Damon just sings lyrics and Andrew guesses.
Guesses the song. We would. I mean, that would be as good as the lullaby game.
We're not doing. We're not doing that. Just make it the instrumental game.
We will next week. 2 for You will be played this week.
All right.
So we'll play that later. I'm
on a little bit of a losing. I'm on the skids.
You'll get back.
I have not been as sharp.
Although these, I put together some tough ones today. So
I'm like Beck.
not to say that that makes you feel any better.
I'm a loser, baby, so why don't you?
8 o'clock hour, maybe with sports. Next.
Rogers and Benning will be back in 4 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 3 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 2 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 1 minute. Rogers and Benning will be back in 30 seconds.
The bottom of the ninth in a Hattiesburg Regional. He's off and running.
Coffee and Cream with Rogers and Benning on Hail Varsity Radio.
Bottom of the ninth in a Hattiesburg Regional. He's off and running. This one is going to the gap. It's going to get down. One run's going to come in. Morgan's going to be held on an RBI single from Veloso to make it 1-0 Tigers.
Hey, top of the hour here on Coffee and Cream in the morning on Hail Varsity Radio, powered by Currency. Damon Benning, Andrew Rogers, live from the H&H Chevrolet stage at Hail Varsity Club, 590 ESPN Omaha. live on Twitter, live on YouTube, Hail Varsity Radio, and Hurrdat Sports YouTube pages. And if you missed anything on the show, go to the podcast and check out Spotify, Apple, Google, Amazon. You can check it out there.
If you need a good laugh.
Hail Varsity Radio is where that's listed at for the moment.
This is summer radio.
It is summer radio. You know, yesterday at softball, I know I'm back to softball. My buddy goes, hey, you know what would be really funny for you and DB to do on the show tomorrow? I said, what? He goes, so you know that Chat GPT thing? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, you guys should type in something with like Matt Rule or Nebraska football and just see what AI has to say.
Dude, are you stalking me?
No.
Day after day after.
Listen. Remember the guy I told you I was looking for? Balk Dog, Lance?
Uh-huh.
I was like, oh, gosh, I bet he got kicked off Twitter again. He sent me this deal yesterday. I swear to goodness, and you know I'm not obviously making this. This dude in my DMs goes, hey, I'm doing all right. I'm still listening, but deleted my old account. Look how Chat GPT makes up stories. And he proceeds to tell me, screenshot this whole deal about Bob Devaney, Nebraska history, and morphing into Coach Rule.
Uh-huh.
Because he was like one of the early guys to get in on this chat thing. And I was like, man, it sounds kind of shady. I don't know. I don't want people to be put up.
It's weird.
And he just hit me with this yesterday.
That's crazy.
God is my witness.
So I go, okay, like, what do you want me to type in? He's like, well, ask if Matt Rule will win at Nebraska and ask if he'll lose at Nebraska.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, okay. But first I was like, no, let's do something a little more like advanced. So I'm like, you know, will Matt Rule strike gold with recruiting? Well, then like ChatGPT thought Matt Rule was still with the Carolina Panthers. And I'm like, okay, is this like reliable at all? So I typed in what he wanted me to type in.
I don't even understand chat. I don't understand.
So all you do is, so it's an artificial intelligence where
I get
you
that part.
type in something and it just gives you a laundry list answer, like things of an answer. So he typed in something like, hey, manager that needs to address issue with employee. And boom, a way to do it. A scenario just popped up in like 3 seconds. That's how quick AI works, which is kind of
Shane, there's
creepy.
no way that he's still talking about practice. AI doesn't think that quick. I don't know if you've seen AI lately.
I don't think so.
He appears to have lived a pretty hard life.
Yeah, he only wants to talk about the games, not practice. Or he's just stepping over people. Who knows? But I want to read you what why Matt Rule will win at Nebraska. Okay.
Yeah.
So AI says, while I can't predict the future or guarantee specific outcomes, I can provide you with some potential reasons why Matt Rule could find success as the head coach at Nebraska. Okay. Mind you,
I'm all ears.
This is a 5-second answer.
I'm all ears.
It turned out to be like a 500-page article.
Okay.
Track record of rebuilding programs. Matt Rule has demonstrated his ability to rebuild struggling programs successfully. He turned around the Temple Owls and Baylor Bears football programs, leading them to unprecedented success. His experience in transforming teams suggests he has the skills to revitalize a struggling program like Nebraska. 2, recruiting connections. Rule has proven to be a skilled recruiter, both in the college and NFL ranks. His ability to connect with players, build relationships, and attract talent could help him assemble a strong recruiting class at Nebraska. A strong recruiting pipeline is crucial for sustained success in college football. Emphasis on discipline and work ethic. Does this sound like Matt Rule? Rule is known for instilling discipline and a strong work ethic in his teams. This focus on attention to detail, accountability, and hard work can create a culture of excellence within the program. It can lead to player development, improved performance, and a competitive edge on the field. Adaptability and flexibility. I'm
mind blown.
Well, I just couldn't believe this was typed out in 5 seconds. Rule has shown adaptability through his coaching career. He has successfully transitioned from the college ranks to the NFL, showcasing his ability to adjust his coaching style and strategies to fit the level of competition. Timeout, DB.
I need a 20. So do people? So this chat, iRobot, Will Smith dude,
AI.
AI. They just accrued data that's been on the net for an extended period of time.
That's my guess.
Okay, so that's not that impressive.
But it's impressive how quickly you can get to that answer.
Like,
does that make sense?
Yeah, but pick something that that doesn't have a lot of literature. Like, we've been saying this for 6 months.
What do you want to know?
I want to know why Emily Rogers just started a Twitter account. Do you know what I mean?
Just started a Twitter.
I feel like I just want to call her like Imali Mali. But she wasn't all that friendly when she was here. So I was like, I'm not messing with her.
Okay,
she seems kind of busy.
I'm sorry, but as an AI language model, I don't have access to real-time information or the ability to browse the internet.
So that makes sense.
Right? As of my last knowledge update in September 2021, I don't have any information about an individual named Emily Rogers starting a Twitter account. It's possible that this event occurred after my knowledge cut off, or it could be referring to a different Emily Rogers. I recommend conducting an internet search or visiting Twitter directly to get the most up-to-date information on
See, I'm not messing around with that stuff. They can't even get a goddamn order right at McDonald's. Like, why am I going to... Was that ketchup packets you wanted? Wait, what? What number again? No, I'm not doing that.
So you don't think the algorithm's impressive, though? How they can just, connect the dots and get this information and spit it out?
That's cool. But did you not watch iRobot?
I did.
Yeah, I'm not a huge... Number one, I kind of subscribe. I kind of subscribe to. I want the workforce to be the workforce.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Customer service already sucks, and you may say, "Well, with AI, it'll be better." But yeah, you won't. It won't.
No, because McDonald's last night, I wanted a large Coke, and it ended up adding 2 small Fantas to the order.
John's.
That's awesome.
Shut up, Shane. This dude's like laying in the cut, not listening to everything.
Thank you, guys.
Yep. Thank you, Coach Rule. What's awesome about him having to pay more money than he was supposed to?
I mean, it was gold. It was absolute gold.
Well, then I'm telling it hey, I don't want the 2 Fantas, just the large Coke. And then it takes off the large Coke and keeps the 2 small Fantas. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you are killing me. And I'm just yelling at this screen until the guy comes on and goes, all right, so what did you need? And I'm like, I just want the large Coke. He's like, yeah.
Did I tell you? I feel like, see, I wanted to tell another story, but it's not sports related either.
Well, that's what we're on today.
Well, we had.
Oh, no look back.
Casey. We had points to get Zoya a Happy Meal. So roll through, give them the number. We're going to get a free, 6-piece nuggets. And I told you the guy that was before me just got a doctored version of a burger, and it was almost $11. And I go, and so it caught me off guard. I screenshotted it. Right, it wasn't my order. It was you catch the tail end of what the person in front of you ordered. I'm like, this dude just paid $10.79 for just one hamburger. So I get around to the corner and I'm talking to the guy, and I'm like, man, I was like, did he really just pay such and such and such and such? And he goes, I mean, just as calm as could be. He goes, yeah, these fast food prices, they're unbelievable. I wouldn't pay them myself, but I work here and they pay me, so it's whatever.
It's like my dad that said,
I was like,
get the purple flavored milkshake. It's really good. I'm like, is it? And he's like, it's a little.
How about the honesty though?
Yeah,
I can dig it. I can absolutely dig it. I'm okay with that. So yes. So Matt Rule will win 6 games in his first year.
Should we ask AI?
Yeah, let's ask AI.
Okay, will Matt Rule?
It'd be funny if you got 2 Fantas with this.
6 games.
You're a child. Go to your room. Stay in your little birdhouse over there. Whoa! Why is it going?
It doesn't have the information to do it.
So it's useful in some other things, right?
Is Shane dumb?
There's a lot of flock going on.
Why was Matt Burzall walking around in my backyard unsolicited last night?
It doesn't have the answers to these. ChatGPT, you are failing miserably. We will all keep our jobs, people. Yeah.
That'll shut the crowd up for a moment.
Yeah, probably.
So, can I ask another question that's kind of off topic?
Hit me.
Why, if you're Victor Wembanyama, were you on the subway?
Because he wants
It happens to Nebraska.
Just be one of the
He
people?
wants to experience life as a layperson.
Okay. Because at 7'5", something's got to give.
Mm-hmm. Or he wanted to.
Have
draw
you ever
attention
stood
to
and had to?
himself.
No, not Victor. You don't think? Or you think?
I don't know.
Yeah, Victor.
I know he can't throw a strike.
The throw to the plate.
Another question. Would you trade Zion Williamson's drama for his bank account? Would you go through what Zion is going through right now to be making $200 million a year guaranteed, which he may or may not keep all, depending on how all this goes?
I would say no.
Really?
And the reason I say no is I kind of like to live drama free.
You're saying
as crazy as that may sound to some people,
you can't live drama free with that much money?
Well, no.
Because
if you have that much money, you're always living in drama.
If you got somebody that's
Not
giving
really.
you drama, you just pay them to go away.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know, Shane. I don't know if it's that easy.
You know what I say about that?
I don't know.
See you later.
Tom Brady was pretty drama free, and he's rich, although he did get a divorce. But
I don't know.
I don't know if
drama
I don't know if
lasting.
sports money invites or money like that invites drama.
Oh, I see.
But that was the whole point of this would you rather, right?
Yeah.
I don't want his
Would
drama.
I'm glad you turned it into a game. It's always about games.
It is.
I didn't call it. I didn't call it. Would you rather? You made it. Would you rather?
The world, baby.
Would you rather take 3 guys from the same team, or would you rather get your intended targets? What?
Give me intended targets.
Yeah, I don't know.
Who do you want?
Would I trade
3 guys from the same team? I mean, I guess
for hypothetically Raiola and Chicory?
Mhm.
I asked. That was not. This wasn't supposed to happen.
No.
This was just me. This was me just running my mouth. 3 for 2 with some homegrown flair. If everybody says yes, I'd take the homegrown flair. Probably.
So you would make the trade?
Yeah.
And the reason I say
although I wonder, so what I don't know is let's say, I mean, DK is already in the fold.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say Zay and Devon both say yes. First of all, I still don't know if I would want to go to the same school as a guy on my team that plays the same position. But I say that knowing full well that Clinton was my best friend in high school. Although he went to North and I went to Northwest, we both went to Nebraska as running backs. I don't know if we would have done that if we were on the same team. Maybe it wouldn't have mattered.
It could have probably turned into a
maybe we just wanted to be together because he was my roommate early on before he told me I needed to get out.
I see you more as a safety.
I don't know. So maybe one of those. Nah, because Zay's he's a receiver.
Right.
Now maybe D Hall could be a DB.
Right.
But I don't think he knows that. So I don't know.
But it's up to the coach to make that decision.
Not originally. Not originally. Maybe later on. But I mean, rules on record. He'll let you choose. He'll let you.
Right. And both of us are called into the meeting. We both play running back. Obviously, you're a better running back than I am.
No, let's for hypothetical. Neither one of us are better.
Okay, hypothetical. We're the
same
playing field, right?
Yeah, just a couple of only 2 stars.
Who fits in the offense better, running back, me or you? Say for the situation, it's you. So they're like, DB, we see you there. Andrew, you're a little bit smaller, but you know what? We love your toughness. We love the heart. We want to make you a defensive back. Like that meeting could be talked about before you even get there. Despite Rule already saying, hey, I'll let you make the call when you're here. We'll give you the option. I think in a lot of cases, it's you have to be willing to sacrifice when you get there, regardless.
But I don't think that's how it starts. Ultimately, that's good, right?
That way.
Ultimately, I think, yeah, sure, that's super myopic from where we sit. I don't know if it's like that coming out of high school as really good players, because the whole funny thing about this whole Devon Hall situation is when Nebraska was going to get him originally, he was this great player flying under the radar. I heard all these recruiting experts that don't know poop. Oh, man, he's flying under the radar, and I don't know why his recruiting isn't blowing up more, and this, that, and the other. Then there was this period where it was like, God, I wonder what's going on with his recruiting.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this is kind of weird. Then it was when he was going to go someplace else. Oh, we have such and such and such and such and such and such, and maybe so we start rationalizing why he's not potentially going to go to Nebraska. Now that he could go to Nebraska again, he's a good player again, and all the while, which is you could see this coming, and you know what pisses me off to no end, because I hate how folks that have responsibility to provide information for other people that can't get it won't take their job seriously. They just go with the flow, spout a bunch of nonsense, whatever, right? It's very annoying. And I'm like, you know what? The whole time, I just said this last week. Let's not act like he's not in the top 10% of his skill set. He's a really good player. This was whether he came to Nebraska or not.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's not act like this kid isn't good. He's really good. Now he's going to be great again if he says yes. Now, if something else happens and at the 11th hour he goes to Tennessee, I'll tell you what, he's fourth on their list and he's got to wait and it's not a committable. I'm like, do you guys have any shame? Mm-hmm. Any conscience? No. Which annoys me to no end, because it should at least for me, and I'm afforded the luxury because my livelihood doesn't depend on the recruiting industry and fluff. I'm always going to be about the kid.
1,000%.
Just because it's hard, right? And wait till like when the dust settles of all this whole cycle and whatever and what's going on. I just hope people look at this deal differently, as opposed to getting off the hype train and understanding that good recruiters in schools that win still address fit and need in that order. It's not necessarily about this guy has this. It's not about a lot of the things we make it about. It's about understanding the long-term sustainability of trying to build a relationship, right? How would it work out for you if you had to make money based on your next significant other and you make it about upside? Would you like to be in that game? How successful do you think you're going to be? Oh, man. He's a 4 now, but, man, could he be a 9? Can you just imagine once I work with him? How often can you afford to do that?
Right. Or how much attention does he draw?
Or the other way. Man, he's super high maintenance. But, hey, get him under our roof with the rest of the kids.
We'll balance him out.
You want to roll that dice too?
Nope.
Yeah, you better make it about the relationship and fit. Period.
And that's what it ultimately boils down to.
You'd think, except for that's not what I've heard the last couple weeks.
With the staff or with just from outside?
The outside noise, as opposed to just allowing people to do their job with what. And again, I don't know if how it lends itself to wins and losses. I don't. Maybe you need better players. I don't know. Maybe you have good players. I was going through all Adam's DMs yesterday about the roster and roster comp and kind of what people think. And it's like, I don't know. I still think ultimately fit matters. Why would DeAndre Hopkins be looking at
Arizona?
Not necessarily that. why would he be looking at New England and Tennessee?
Coaching.
Do either one of those to where you and I sit? You Mac Jones,
Ryan Tannehill,
and maybe his last year.
Not upgrades.
So it has to be about something else other than what we see,
coaching.
right? Maybe or whatever.
Would you want to play for Vrabel?
So let's say it is coaching, whatever. Like, we don't know, but we sure will piss pound this thing into what makes it a good decision. You know how many things we don't know about this situation, but we'll ride or die and swear by this thing, right?
Because you're going to cause or you're going to spark a lot of chatter in the fan base, which in turn is going to lead to more eyes on you for making that post.
Yeah, and it's interesting, right?
Writing that article or making that video.
Because one of the guys, there's a couple guys actually that are in the recruiting fold that they're like, man, DB, I know sometimes you don't always say what you want to say. And in 95% of the time I do, unless I'm betraying confidence. But I'll tell you how I think about the situation 100% of the time, especially if you ask me. I don't always have to divulge the dirty details, though. And I had a couple of guys ask me a couple weeks ago about what I really thought. And some of their concerns were with a coaching staff where somebody's been anointed this much. Shane, South Park, right? Respect my authority. With somebody that has this much authority and has said things like, hey, let's be honest, man, you guys are 3-9 and 4-8. What are you guys going to tell me about? I'll listen, but what are you going to tell me about how to do my job? Man, DB, will absolute power corrupt? Absolutely. Are there checks and balances? And I'm like, listen, in this game, the way that it's going, it boils down to two things: authenticity and trust. One is a byproduct of the other. If you feel like that staff and he's being authentic, it's up to you to do with that information what you will and decide if you can trust it or not. If you think he's going to go all willy-nilly once you get there and do what he wants to do, and he's just saying whatever he can do to get you in the door, then don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
But just know in the back of your mind, nothing is foolproof. And it doesn't matter what I say. It's just my opinion, right? Just because I happen to know him fairly okay, it's still going to be just my opinion from just my vantage point. That's what makes this it's a tough game to play. Are you all in on trying to recruit and forecast how you think people are going to turn out 3 years from now? How much fun would that be? Not a ton, unless you embrace.
Well, predictions are fun for the fan base.
Not so much for the coaching staff. They'd rather operate in the know given the choice.
Andy Kendeigh up next.
I was with my parents, and it was, I don't remember exactly what game it was, but I was still in high school. And that's another cool thing is that I grew up coming to games here, especially with my dad. Every year we would do a daddy-daughter date night. And so a couple times we made that night a game at Bolin. So again, that's just another example of full circle, and it's going to mean so much to be playing on that field.
Rogers and Benning will be back in 4 minutes.
I was with my parents, and it was, I don't remember exactly.
Rogers and Benning will be back in 3 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 2 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 1 minute. Rogers and Benning will be back in 30 seconds. Coffee and Cream with Rogers and Benning on Hail Varsity Radio.
I was with my parents, and it was, I don't remember exactly what game it was, but I was still in high school. And that's another cool thing, is that I grew up coming to games here, especially with my dad. Every year we would do a daddy-daughter date night. And so a couple times we made that night a game at Bolin. So again, that's just another example of full circle, and it's going to mean so much to be playing on that field.
The ball effect is real. Jordy Ball there, giving the media some time in a press conference yesterday over in Lincoln. As DB pointed out too, as we went to break, you look at the bottom of ESPN headlines and you still see Jordy Ball's name there too. So
yeah,
she doesn't go away.
No, been good on her.
Let's welcome in Andy Kendeigh, now sports director at KETV, at A Kendeigh, KETV on Twitter. AK, good morning.
Good morning, boys. I want to sell tickets for the softball program. That's what I want to be my job. And have my salary based on how much increase in terms of ticket sales 1 year to the next.
You're creative. Andrew's got a doozy for you.
Okay, here. I got one, because with Jordy Ball coming back out of break, already successful women's athletics programs and support at Nebraska. You see the volleyball team going to Memorial Stadium for a match. At what point, with all the season ticket sales and wait lists and things like that, at what point, if it were possible at Memorial Stadium, but hey, we could even say the Chuck and turn it into a softball field. At what point do you have to move a game that Jordy Ball is starting in so that it appeals to the rest of Husker Nation like they did for volleyball?
Well, logistically, we might be putting the cart ahead of the horse a little bit if we talk Memorial Stadium, but I think there's something to it. I mean, I think you could be creative and try to find a bigger venue for a game or two. But yeah, when you look at some of those season ticket numbers that we've seen, being floated around, like there was like something like about 350 season tickets last year. And this year there's already been inquiries about 2,500 season tickets, and Bowling only told 2,500 people. I mean, do the math there, fellas. They're going to need to bring in portable seating or something because of the effect. I mean, it's pretty amazing that you go down to the Men's College World Series and people from out of town want to talk about Jordy Ball, the most outstanding player of the Women's College World Series. She's going to be signing she's got already an appearance Friday at the Omaha Baseball Village, signing autographs from 11 to 2 I just saw. And then next week at the Storm Chasers. So there's going to be plenty of opportunities to go out and say hey to Jordy Ball. She's really exploded. And why not? Because, there is one outstanding player in the Women's College World Series, and she's it. And she decided to take her talents home to Lincoln, Nebraska. That's pretty cool. That just doesn't happen.
Hey, AK, you've done this a long time, and you've got a lot of angles, and you've been in pro markets, college markets. And maybe this isn't true, so I'm asking you on the fly for a real opinion. Is her story, like the core, the essence of who she is and what she is, greater than or a bigger draw than her sports accomplishments?
I don't know if I would go greater, but I would say they certainly go hand in hand. I think there's something really appealing about an athlete who wants to go home and makes it very clear that she was homesick.
Listen, her dad teared up during her sit down.
Yeah. Well,
right? I mean, come on.
I think it's
that ain't about K's.
I think it's refreshing to hear an athlete verbalize how homesick she was over the first couple of years. And, we've been away to school. We understand. And to have the pressure that was put on her, and to have her, come through the other end and have 2 national championships under her belt and want to take that leap, it just doesn't happen often, if ever, to have a person of her high caliber on the athletic field to come back home to. I mean, it's not like Nebraska's some program in shambles in terms of the softball program. They're a good, solid program, but there is definite tiers in women's softball, and Nebraska isn't at that top tier. With Jordy Ball, that immediately elevates Nebraska to that top tier, in my opinion, and because of the importance of pitching and who Jordy Ball is. And I think that's why this story it resonates with so many people, because it's somebody who, has talked about openly how homesick she was and how the need to be close to her family. And I think people can relate to that. I mean, there was times when I went to school that I was like, holy cow, maybe this isn't the right thing. And you still put your head down, you do your work, but she has the opportunity to come home. And, oh, by the way, and maybe make a few dollars along the way. That's a pretty good deal. That's a pretty good deal in my book, and a great story.
Andy, not to put too much pressure on Jordy here, but you had said that she instantly elevates Nebraska to the top. So when talking expectations, if the expectation is to win the Big Ten championship next year, and I know we're getting way ahead of ourselves when I say this, but if that doesn't happen, is that looked at as a disappointment nationally, seeing her come back home, go to Nebraska, they can't get a conference tournament win? Is that a disappointment for Nebraska?
I think that we got to pump the brakes a little bit here. Like, there is so much that can happen in a year. And, yeah, there's a lot of pressure to put on Jordy, but if there's one person who accepts that, it's her. I mean, she wants the ball in big situations. And here's the other thing, guys, that this may not be the only person in the portal coming to Nebraska. I mean, there's still plenty of time in the summer and what have you. And when we talk about the Jordy Ball effect, that's not just putting butts in the seats. That's also being like a Pied Piper. And we've seen it countless times in football recruiting from a high school level to a college level. Well, you know, there's also some of that at a college level when you have a transfer. Hey, you know, and it may not, it doesn't necessarily have to be Jordy Ball saying, hey, come to Nebraska. Other kids around the country that excel in their sport can look at Nebraska and go, holy cow, Jordy Ball's going to Nebraska. I love that place. I thought about that place coming out of high school. Now here's a reason. Let's go and do it. And the higher level of caliber player comes to Nebraska. That's where I think the effect can really take off. And so, yeah, it does, because pitching is so important at the college softball level. I think that's why this is such a big deal. And Jordy instantly puts them into that top echelon. It's not only in the Big Ten, but also in the country.
Now, a little play on words. Coach Rule he's like, he bristles up. You know, he's like, man, there's no such thing as rule aid. Like, I just am what I am, right? Like, he I know I'm dead serious. Like, you should hear him go into character. He gets so pissed about the rule aid thing, But is there a little bit of the public consuming what's going on in the off seasons with these programs, right? Creighton gets Kalk and Tricky Trey back, and Nebraska basketball gets Casey, and maybe an improved roster. You know, Nebraska football could be on the cusp of writing some good recruiting momentum and some much needed news. Like, it just seems like the feel is, gosh, if you could win the offseason, it seems like the local yokels are doing okay. Are you drinking?
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Nobody's lost a game in the offseason. That's, you know, and it's tough. And if you lose the offseason, then you're
baseball gets their guys. Like,
yeah. This is the time. This is where hope spreads, right? This is where the energy happens in the off season, and you know, Coach Rule has done all the right things, and I think it's been talk about refreshing the approach to his position, as well as what we're seeing along the way in terms of how he's coordinating camps, reaching out to people that have been close to the program but haven't been close to the program in recent years. You know, inviting the Wyoming staff back. That was a cool thing.
How about how nobody's ever talked to Bull? Was that wild?
That was when I read that, I was like, "You got to be kidding me!"
Yeah, it's just weird.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
And you know, Coach Bull, you know, kind of like, well, we've never been asked. I'm like, what? You've never been asked? Like, come on now.
How about the joint camps, though? You talk about being secure in who you are.
Oh, no question. And I think that says a lot. That is a great point. Being secure in where you are in your position in the college football landscape. I think that cannot be underplayed. But when you mentioned Rule Aid, I just picture Coach Rule in a picture, you know, like the old pitcher breaking through a wall saying, oh, yeah. So that's pretty good.
Like, he laughs at it. He's like, I'm not even going to do his voice, but it's like, you know, there's no such thing as Rule Aid. He's like, you guys can say what you want, but if you listen to me in 4 more years, I'll be saying a lot of the same things. This is just who I am.
Yeah. Well, it's great. It's been fun watching him lay the foundation, that's for sure. It's going to be fun.
Andy Kendeigh, it's been fun talking to you, too. We will talk to you in a couple of weeks.
Thanks, fellas. Be good. Have a good week.
Appreciate you, AK.
Hey, you too. Sports director at KETV, Andy Kendeigh, joining the show there. When we come back, we will talk to DB's friend from the barbershop, Jeff Cardozo.
I don't know if he'd call me a friend, but
he's the voice of Florida baseball at Jeff Cardozo UF on Twitter. College World Series chatter over the next 2 segments. Stick around. More CNC after the break.
Rogers and Benning will be back in 4 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 3 minutes.
Crowd really.
Rogers and Benning will be back in 2 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 1 minute. Coffee and Cream with Rogers and Benning on Hail Varsity Radio.
Crowd really getting into it here. The 2-0 pitch. Heyman, fly ball center field. Going back is O'Donnell. He's got the catch, but it's deep enough, and the Gators have a walk-off win here in Omaha. A sac fly by the freshman who's going to get mobbed out there by second base, and the Gators score 3 in the bottom of the ninth to come all the way back and win the first one here against Virginia. And finally, a 1-run victory goes the Gators' way here in Omaha.
Welcome back, Coffee and Cream in the morning on Hail Varsity Radio, powered by Currency. Damon Benning, Andrew Rogers, live from the H&H Chevrolet stage at Hail Varsity Club. Happy to have you all with us and happy to be joined by our next guest, Jeff Cardozo, voice of Florida baseball at Jeff Cardozo UF on Twitter. Jeff, good morning.
Andrew, good morning, man. Still here, so I guess that's a good thing. Huh?
That is a great thing.
Jeff, super small world. You kind of just mosey on into the barbershop. I'm getting my hair cut. What are the odds? And it's like, can you believe? I'm like, I got to know, though, for the record, did you get the appointment you wanted?
We ended up moseying all the way down almost to the square down there and found one just off of Farnham Street. So, yeah, they were great in there. Very very thorough. It took a long time. And, it was awesome.
Hey, did you make it in time to get all your prep done?
Yes, plenty of time. So it was good, man.
You know, it's so great to talk to you, too, because I told the story on there. I said, what are the odds I could run into another play-by-play guy just kind of looking for a place to get a haircut in Omaha? And lo and behold, Shane goes, hey, you know, we booked our guest. We got 4. I go, wait a minute. I just talked to him on Friday. Like, we gave him the rec for the barber, so I'm glad it worked out, man. How's the stay been?
Yeah, really good. You know, we're off the regular hotels a little bit, so I think that's a little different for some of the guys. But it's crazy. I was just thinking about this is now my 10th time here once as a player and then 9 now as a broadcaster. So, but we hadn't been since 2018. So I think you get spoiled a little bit, and kind of the normal things, like used to go down to wheat fields downtown, and that wasn't there anymore.
Yeah.
So, a few places here and there, but it's awesome. I think this atmosphere for the kids and, the people that got to bring their families, I think they just absolutely are soaking it in. I mean, you dream about this as a baseball player since you start playing, and now with all these travel teams, and you get to go to Cooperstown and other places, but obviously as a college baseball player to get to be in this point and playing in front of 25,000 people is pretty darn cool for these guys.
Yeah, it's interesting. You aged a lot better than I did, because I think you were early 2000s. That's when I was just getting started in the business. I think that 01 Gator team, like when you're looking at the evolution of the baseball program, right? The facilities, O'Sullivan, his personality, the television partners with ESPN and how the market has grown. Could you have envisioned this, which would be for you about 20 some odd years ago?
No, not really, to be honest. I mean, you think about even just from a game day standpoint on a Tuesday night against a random midweek team, these kids have probably 50 pictures taken of them because of the digital stuff and everything else. And, back in the day, it was, photographer had to take a picture. You had to develop it in this dark room, and you might have like 3 or 4, like in your 4 years of Florida. So I think that's really cool. And then the social media stuff. I mean, we've got a team out here. There's 4 or 5 guys with a couple of camera people and a couple of video guys and the sports information guy, and they're putting out content left and right, and you get to do all these things. And, you guys obviously played the call there at the end of the first. I don't even remember any calls from, a long time ago. So I think it's cool for the guys. Again, it's just all about the experience. Some of these guys will never get to play again after this year or, again after college. So being able to savor these moments and see what it's done. And, I'm getting texts all over the place from people all over the country, from former teammates. And, one's actually in Hawaii right now, and they're watching the games and listening to the games. So it's cool how it's really taken over the country. And, I think it's really good for college baseball.
Jeff, how big do you think it is to have a game in hand, a rest day even, in terms of strategy for how to proceed moving forward for Florida?
Yeah, I think obviously it's big. If you can get this one too, and then you really get your starters lined up for the weekend. And that's when Florida's been really good all year. I mean, we've played 16 weekends this year and won 14 of them. So in essence, that would be getting to the finals, going and winning 2 out of 3. And I think that's what this team's built for. I almost wish they would actually change like regional play to be best of 3, because I think that's what the entire season is geared at. That's how you build everything. And, regional sometimes mess that up, even, the big beginning here in Omaha. So I feel really confident about that if the Gators can get that far. But, you just have a good outing today. You've got some guys in the bullpen that haven't really thrown a lot. And obviously we've been sitting around for a few days after winning those first 2. So, I think Sully will line it up right, and we'll just see what happens. Just go play like you're supposed to, and you got a chance.
You got a unique and great perspective, right? The format didn't change until I can't even remember the exact year. It's probably 12 or 13 years ago with the format and the bracket seedings. And some people debate whether, familiarity and playing the same teams over, should you drop to a different bracket? You have unique experience. You've seen a multitude of formats. Do you like the current format where you can get the rest if you earn the reward, and then the familiarity with maybe having to see the same team just based on the format and going from a Friday to a Saturday with a championship series? Do you like the way that the format has evolved?
Yeah, I think I'm okay with it this year. Especially you look at, I think a lot of people even thought that Florida was on the easier side of the bracket, so to speak, with who they were playing. But then you try to counter that and tell them, Oral Roberts had won 42 of 46, and TCU's hot as heck, and all that. And speaking of TCU today, it's going to be fun. I actually played with Kurt Sarloos, a team in the Cape Cod League together back in the day.
I was going to ask that later.
Yeah, so I'll talk some smack to him if I get to see him before the game. But no, I think it's good. And I guess the unique part is we're actually going to now play all 3 teams on this side of the bracket, so you do get to see each one of them on how it works. But I'm cool. I like it way better than just the straight regional back when I was playing. And it was basically like a 6-team just dogfight and grind and trying to figure all that other stuff out. But, again, maybe just the one change would be, hey, that round of 64 right at the beginning, maybe make 32 regional sites and then go at it 2 out of 3. But then I guess you're adding one more weekend. And,
yeah.
You know, I think that would certainly be difficult to do that. So I think from everything that's done, it's probably the best way to do it right now.
So the cool thing when you stopped in the barbershop, I think you and I, in just a little bit of time, we got into how I said, even though you have a really good seating, strong national power, I felt like, and this was unsolicited, I didn't even know the depths of really what you did. I'm like, gosh, it just seems like Florida is an afterthought. I've been saying it on this show for a week. Do you think you have everybody's attention now?
Yeah, I would hope so. And I think Florida's even done this, and we're only hitting like 220.
And it's been very situational, though.
Mm-hmm.
Like, timely is good in baseball. You know this.
Sure. Yeah, no question. And I mean, you've got, Jack Caglione there in the 3-hole who hasn't even really done anything yet, just the one hit so far. And Langford hits that ball in the first game. That's the furthest ball ever hit in the stadium. So I think you get a little taste of it. But the cool part is, and you could tell throughout the year that this lineup was really deep. There was a struggling point where, they weren't doing the best. It was probably like the middle part of the season. We got swept at South Carolina, and just the bottom of the order couldn't do anything. You got to a point where those guys were like 8 for the last 92, and it was just like an automatic out when you got to that inning, and it was really tough. And Sully changed around some things. He put some other guys out there, and then Evans wasn't playing, and all of a sudden he gets the pinch hit and gets the double, and then obviously the homer and another homer. And, this is a guy that hadn't played in about a month. So I think that's the cool part, is seeing this team evolve. And I think from a national standpoint, you could probably see, hey, we've got some studs on the mound, but I'm not sure if the lineup after the first 3 or 4 guys is going to be able to do anything. Well, now it finally is. And that's actually the ones that have really gotten us through the super regional and now here in Omaha.
Jeff, you mentioned Wyatt, you mentioned Jack Caglione getting the start today. It's like Florida has their own version of Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani. What about their work ethic has impressed you, especially this year, to put themselves in position to take on the biggest compliments and the biggest moments?
Yeah, I think when you look at Jack, it's really tough. Obviously Shohei's doing that, but there's not a lot of people, and we've seen it over the years, even some guys that have come out here, and, Brennan McKay a few years back. So there's guys that try it, but then you get to the next level and you can't really sustain it. But that's when you look at Jack, I mean, he does such a good job with his body. He's in the training room all the time. He's working out. He's doing some different things to try to make sure that, he's got enough energy to be able to do some of these things. But let's just say you're a GM and you're enamored by the way he can hit, because he hits 450-foot homers and all this other stuff. But then, all of a sudden, then you're walking around in the backfields and he's playing catch and it's just popping into a glove. And, if I'm the GM and I'm watching him throw 97 from the left side, I'm probably kicking my own ass saying, why didn't I have this guy? So, so I think he will get a chance to do both. I think he's that talented to be able to do that. I think there's some things in his swing that he probably needs to be better with. But he actually came to Florida as a pitcher, and, they saw him rehabbing from Tommy John, just kind of swinging the bat and hitting balls. So then they put him in and just let him hit. And then obviously it stuck. And then for Wyatt, it's just a really unique story. The guy had 5 at-bats his first year. It was an afterthought. He was a backup catcher and then worked really hard that offseason, came back, set the school record in homers last year, and obviously what he's been able to do this year. He's just this little kind of backwoods kid that gets after it, and it's been fun to see.
You got it. We got 103 from Waldrop. Again, so are you, and you guys are set, locked, and loaded. Should be fun to watch.
Yeah, a lot of fun for sure, guys.
Jeff, thanks for taking the time this morning. Enjoy the call tonight. Enjoy the rest of the CWS. Hopefully we can talk again soon.
Yep, sounds good.
Appreciate it, Jeff. Thanks.
Jeff Cardozo, voice of Florida baseball, at Jeff Cardozo UF on Twitter.
My buddy Aaron was like, your barber cuts hair for people that look like me? Yeah, the only color my barber sees is green. He's good. He's the best in the business.
I still need to get in there.
I'm telling you, you'll never go anywhere else. Be careful.
That's what I need. Steven Schoch up next.
Rogers and Benning will be back in 4 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 3 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 2 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 1 minute. Rogers and Benning will be back in 30 seconds. Coffee and Cream with Rogers and Benning on Hail Varsity Radio.
Early square, perfect punt. When it may have gone foul, they field it and they throw it away. That will bring the run in, and Dugas will go to second.
Top of the hour here on Coffee and Cream in the morning on Hail Varsity Radio, powered by Currency. Damon Benning, Andrew Rogers, waiting on Steven Schoch to join the show. Left him a message. We will see if we can get to him. Going back to our interview, though, last 15 minutes, Jeff Cardozo. He goes to a barbershop. Like, this is something that I really had to think about.
You're trying to get your mind around this?
He goes to a barbershop in a different town.
Yep.
To get his hair looking all fresh for the broadcast.
Now, keep in mind, it wasn't for him. I don't want to say it was his. Couldn't have been his son because he played in 01.
Okay.
Which would have made him. It actually could have been. I mean, you never know.
Okay.
Strapping, big, strong, blonde head kid.
Regardless, right?
Okay, yeah.
Goes to a barbershop in a different state.
Yep.
To get a trimming.
Yep.
A cut. Whether it was for Jeff, as you said it wasn't, or his kid.
Yeah.
If I'm in a different town for something, like to attend something or to be here for a week, I wouldn't think to get my hair cut.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, so his hotel is right through the window of my barber's sight line.
Okay.
So they're literally in my barber's right on the corner of 24th and Harney. It's an amazing shop. Shane, do we have him? I don't know. He's talking. So we'll tell this story after, but yeah. It's
I'm intrigued.
Listen, there's only 4 people in there. The 2 barbers and the 2 people in the chair. So it's not crowded or anything, and it's an immaculate barbershop.
Wild. Let's go to the phone now. Steven Schoch here with us now. College baseball personality, and that's the best way to describe him, and host of Schoch Factor at Big Donkey 47 on Twitter. Steven, good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here. I think personality is the best way to describe it because I really don't know what I am.
So here's the deal. So full disclosure, you're one of the guys, me. I'm always talking about how there's something cool about being authentic. Whoever you are, like, be that person. Just be true to who you are, kind of the sincerity of it. You've, like, taken that to the nth degree, right? A great baseball player. Some people say a better person, a huge personality. At what point were you just like, this is kind of who I am? You guys think it's cool. I think it's pretty easy just to be me. I don't have to remember what I said. Like, when did all those worlds collide?
It's just kind of always been how I've been. I'm pretty straightforward. I don't really like wasting time, and I'm not a very good actor. Like, people who have seen me do videos know that I stumble over my words when I try to do stuff that I'm not used to doing and things like that. So I don't like doing that. I like to just be me and talk from where my heart is, because I don't really see any point in wasting time, because life's gonna happen whether we like it or not. So we might as well enjoy it. Might as well be ourselves, and that's all you can really do in life is put yourself out there. And if people like you, they like you. If they don't, they don't. But either way, if you're true to yourself, at least you got that going. Where it's like I was on, like, it's just a matter of I've always kind of stayed true to myself, just because I don't really want to remember having to think like, oh, what did I say here? Like, how do I go along with that? It's like, no, it's just like, okay, I did this, and then this is what happened. Like, it's so easy to remember things that way.
Steven, take me back to the moment that really, really got you famous, when you were on an interview with the ACC Network, and it was a post-game interview, but how that kind of spiraled into what you're doing now. Would you say that without that little sprinkle of good luck or that good fortune, would you still be as big of a personality as you are in the eyes of the people today? Like, do you trust yourself in that ability of, hey, sometimes you just got to get lucky, or I would have done it anyway?
No, I definitely got lucky. I would have been a State Farm insurance agent if it didn't happen.
Hey, like a good neighbor, Steven's there.
Yeah, I was already licensed in Virginia. I was moving to North Carolina, so it would have been really easy to switch that licenseship over. And I had a job interview lined up with them, which I think I would have gotten. I think I could have done it. But then that interview happened, and I was like, this is way more fun. I'm going to try to do this. Because I really didn't have any plans going into it. I was just super happy that I won a baseball game and was going to get to play with my friends again. And that's really all that. Like, I think that's why we had success as a team, because, like, we didn't have any pressure. We were just like, well, we like each other, so we'd prefer to keep playing together. And then when you do that, sometimes things just kind of fall in place. But in all honesty, like, during the interview, I was just really happy. Like, things were really cool.
So it's interesting. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. Go ahead.
So, like, the game has changed so much. We were just talking to Florida's play-by-play a little bit ago, and it's almost the opposite of who you are, right? The television deals, the scheduling, the bracket formats has changed. It's become much more commercial. Like, when you're playing the game, you're playing, and now you're kind of doing your thing. Did you think the marketability in the media of college baseball would be as big as it is now?
I'm really glad with where the game is headed, where like it's much more popular, and sure, it has become a little commercialized, but if you think about it, football and basketball are the two most profitable, two most popular college sports, and they're the most commercialized. So I think commercialization, though, it like kind of takes away from the whole, oh, just go out and win mindset. I think it is a good thing for the game in general, just because it's marketed more, you know, there are brands trying to sell more products in the game, which I think is really good, because that means there's more people who are going to see the game and who are going to be interested in it, because it's like, oh, why is this company, why does Instagram want me to buy a $200 glove right now? Oh, it's just college baseball, cool. You know, so it's like one of those things where it's like, I feel like the commercialization is a good thing, because one, it makes athletes easier to connect with and more relatable, because it's like, okay, well, now I know exactly what brands this guy's using. So if I want to be like this guy, I can buy the brands, I can do that, and all sorts of things, which I know is the ultimate goal of the whole NIL thing, is to get people. It's all marketing, which, hey, that's totally fine. It helps brands out a lot, and I've seen it on the other side where a brand gives something away and gets return from it now that I have hats and things and I'm doing stuff like that. So I know it's something where it's kind of good for everybody who's involved with it. And I think just the game's in such a good spot. I mean, even Omaha from last year to this year, comparing the 2 years and the attendance, like there's been one game where it's easy to get around. And that was yesterday morning between TCU and Oral Roberts. And that's because it's on a Monday or on Tuesday at 2 p.m. Like, it was still pretty packed, but that was the easiest game to navigate. I think the attendance was still north of 20,000, which, like, that's an insane crowd to have.
Yeah, on a Monday we had 1 Central.
Steven Schoch on the show right now, college baseball personality and host of Schoch Factor. We've seen a lot of great moments so far this CWS, from big plays to clutch hits to funny things like Sarlu's stopping a broadcast to go talk to umps, to weird things like Florida overdoing their mound visits, to popular things like Livy Dunn showing up. But what's something, or let's start with this. What moment has stuck out to you so far this CWS? And maybe what's one thing that you've seen that others haven't seen or that don't get to see because they're watching on TV?
Well, if you're watching on TV, I would say the coolest thing I've seen was the play Brock Wilken made. Not just because I really like the kid, but because that play was really impressive. Like, a lot of things had
brutal angle to make that throw, right?
Yeah, and like he kind of loses the ball in his glove, but in the end, that really helps him out because it establishes the throwing lane. Like, just a lot of things had to go right. It's a little cue shot off the end of the bat by K. Beloso that, you know, those balls are really hard to handle. Like, at third base, you're at third base because your reflexes are just great. Like, you don't have to be a great fundamental fielder at third base, but your instincts have to be insane. So, like, that's why at the hot corner, you know, they react to the rocket shots, the balls that are pulled super hard. It's like purely reflexes. So those finesse balls that are kind of hit to you are way harder. So him just getting to it and handling it was really impressive. But if you aren't in Omaha, one of the things that you do miss out on that I really loved as part of the fan experience for me is just being at the park and seeing all the players. Like, for example, I went to the game last night and I was thinking, man, it'd be really cool to like run into Brock Wilken or Bennett Lee and just like talk to them about what was going through their heads in the play. And I was sitting in the left field bleachers trying to film a video showing that, like, it's impossible to see the baseball with the shadows and the sun at the night game.
Right.
And Bennett Lee is just sitting behind me. Neither of us even realized it. Like, halfway through filming, I turn around and I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, dude, can I talk to you? And that access to the players is just so cool. And like, it's really fun to watch the players take it all in, because like a lot of them, it's not a typical experience for them. And I know playing in the SEC, you got a lot of fans, and you are more used to playing in front of large crowds, but like the amount of kids that are here taking it all in, and the amount of like fans who are here interacting with the players is just so cool. And like as a former player who's been in that position, like it's so much fun to interact with fans, and like it's one of those things where, again, it's good for everybody, and it's just so cool to see. But like an easy way to get me to root for a team is to see like when I walk through the hotel lobby, I'm seeing players who are always signing for kids, like always stopping for kids, and those are the guys you're going to hear a lot about, because those are people I believe are very good for the game of baseball, and it makes me happy to see them being good for the game.
Yeah, on a lighter note, the only person maybe in America that is uniquely connected as a Maryland-Baltimore County guy that plays baseball at Virginia, that had a school in Maryland-Baltimore County that was the first 16 to be to 1 in basketball. So you'll always have that going for you. Wrong sport in basketball, but I knew you were a Maryland-Baltimore County guy, and it's like, wait a minute, now he's at Virginia. I bet he's got some jokes for that. But listen, let me ask you this, because I want to know if it's an advantage or disadvantage. Game has changed a ton. Guys are situational. You may come in, pitch one inning. You may only get to pitch against left-handers. You may only get to go through the rotation or the lineup twice, or, you're a back-end guy. Do you like the way the game has gone where it is so situational? Would you rather be the hitter with knowing that pitchers only pitch a certain way, or the pitchers knowing that your role is so well defined? Where is the advantage in your opinion?
The advantage is definitely being a pitcher. It'll always, through the history of time, be easier to pitch than hit. Because
Good
you
point.
think about hitting's the hardest thing to do in baseball, which means pitching,
is not.
It's super hard, So, and there's a lot like you can do as a pitcher to make hitters think they know what you're gonna do, and you really don't have to follow any script or any lines. It's like, whose line is it anyway? Where it's all made up and the points don't matter.
Scenes from a hat.
Exactly. So, like, as a hitter, there's so much to think about. And as a pitcher, there's a lot to think about too. But if you've been around the game of baseball, you probably know that the more you think, the more you try to predict what's going to happen, the more
it doesn't work that way.
More feel, because it never works. Mm-hmm. You can never guess what's going to happen. So in baseball, I'm a firm believer the player who can think the least is going to have the most success. And so, like, when I was on the mound, I would not think at all. I would just be an autopilot, because I spent the other, 23 hours and 30 or so minutes of the day thinking about how I'm going to collect outs, so that way when I step on the mound, I don't have to think about it. So it's one of those things where I think people make hitting a little bit too complex, which really helps out pitchers. I mean, with the pitch clock, that does take away a little bit from just the way I used to pitch, just because I like to use a lot of timing. I was a firm believer that when a hitter took a terrible swing, I wanted to throw a pitch again as fast as I could. So, like, I would try to deliver within, 10 seconds if they took a bad swing, because I want them to think about it. But if a hitter is taking a good swing, I probably wouldn't throw a pitch until just about every other 20 seconds. So the pitch clock kind of messes with that, kind of takes away that sort of pitchability. But I don't think the guys in today's game who are just kind of throwing 98 and 99 have to think much about, what do I go with here, or how long should the hitter wait? I think they're just kind of more, I throw this hard, so what does it matter? Which is totally fine. I'd do it too if I could do it. But I think that takes away from it. But pitching still, like, when you're a pitcher, you're the house. Like, odds are in your favor. As long as you deliver your skill set, you're typically going to win.
All right, so let me ask you that beautiful segue, because it's hard to string together consecutive hits. You don't see it a ton. I don't care if it's college, pros, right? If you hit 3 out of 10 times you're considered great. So it's hard and it's not really repeatable. Why do we see so many pitchers dink and dunk and nickel and dime when it's hard to hit? You're on offense and you don't have the ball. Why do you think pitchers aren't as aggressive, knowing odds are in your favor that hitting is extremely difficult? Why don't we see more hitters just being challenged to hit the baseball?
I just think because the data we see isn't always the most important these days. Where it's like, okay, my spin rate's this, my fastball goes this fast, my induced vertical break is this. But I think people need to be more focused on the fact that if you just watch BP, if you're a little kid at the College World Series and you roll up and you watch BP.
Yeah, they make outs in BP.
Oh, they make out 6 out of 10 times in BP. With pitchers playing defense, just messing around. We aren't that athletic by any means, but you watch BP and these guys are getting out 6 out of 10 times, and that's not even a knock against them. Like, those are good hitters. But if you think about it, the coach is trying to find their barrel at that point. They're trying to give up hits. So if I'm on the mound not trying to give up hits, and the hitter doesn't know what's coming, and I'm not trying to find barrels, the odds are so in the pitcher's favor. I mean, if you look at the numbers, 68% of balls put in play result in an out.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're filling up the zone, that means there's a 32% chance that a ball that gets hit ends up being a hit. So if you think about it that way, if you can limit the damage and control the running game, if you limit those to singles, if you do the math, the odds of giving up a run by singles, say 3 in a row, ends up being like an infinitely small number. Not infinitely small, but very small.
Relatively speaking, I agree with you.
Yeah, like I used to know how to do the statistics and the math of it because you got to move the decimal point, small point. It gets real ugly. But the odds are like in the 0.0 and then a number. So it's slim. It's very slim as long as you limit the running game and don't give up hits. Yeah, I used to. I took a statistics class once and I knew it, but now I don't. Look, I don't have to do math for my job anymore. Why would I?
Yeah, just count dollar signs, baby. You can count those.
But it's just one of those things where it's like the math is so complex and in my favor so much that all I have to do is deliver strikes. And like, I think once you can get to that oversimplified approach of pitching, and then you have a pitching coach who knows you better than anyone and can help call those pitches and recommend those pitches in this situation, you're going to have so much success. But I think where guys struggle is where they overthink and they just kind of auto pitch. Like, they don't think about what pitch they want to throw, because that's the only thing I think about. I think, okay, well, slider makes sense here, or fastball makes sense here. And as soon as I have that instinctual thought, that's the pitch I have to throw, because in my head, I believe that's the right pitch, so I'm going to throw it way better than I would, like, if I say I chose to throw a slider, and then the coach was like, no, you're throwing a fastball here. I'm probably going to throw that fastball not as well as the slider would have been thrown, because I had the belief in the slider. I didn't have the belief in the fastball right off the bat. So it's a lot of just, like, overthinking and over-complexifying it. That's not a word. But I already said it, so it's out there. But just making it too much to think about, when in reality, baseball can be really simple. And I think it's one of those games where as soon as you start thinking, you kind of lose.
Steven, quickly here, out of the 4 teams left, who's your pick to win it all?
Man, I really like the way Wake Forest has been playing, because a lot of the season, they're known for having that prolific offense where Brock Wilkins can just send balls out of the yard. But I mean, on windy days in Omaha, it's hard to get the ball out, but they still found ways to manufacture runs, which I was really impressed with.
Even though they've only led for a total of 1 inning.
I know, which is crazy.
It's wild to think about. That is the craziest stat I've seen.
Like, and that's the way the College World Series has been this year, where it's like, you really only have to win the last inning. it's been,
that is true.
It's been one of those things where like big innings haven't really been too much of a factor. Like it's been such a well-played series that like the blowouts aren't happening. Like we've had one game that was decided by like more than 3 runs, I think, maybe more, but I can only think of one right off the top of my head. But it's just been such a great series, and everything's been so crisp. But I really like Wake Forest just because the way they pitched it, I was really impressed with. They're well rested, but also, I mean, of course, I want to support the ACC because I played in it, and I think it's a good conference. But also, I think them being able to beat these SEC teams will be really good for college baseball as a whole, just because then, you know, they beat LSU once, and LSU fans can go, oh, well, they got lucky. The umpires gave them this or whatever they want to say right now. But if Wake Forest moves on and wins the whole thing, that becomes undeniable. They command respect at that point. But, I mean, they've had mine since way back in, like, February. But for the rest of the nation, I think it's time to hop on board because these guys are really doing something special. Like, anytime they're in a weather delay, anytime there's anything where the game is not being played and the team is together, the odds of them winning just boost so significantly. Like the Stanford game went, or when it,
yep,
I believe it was the Stanford
You're
game
right.
that went the weather delay where they were trailing, and they go in the locker room, they hang out, they have fun together, and then guess what? They
come back and
out
win.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm a fan of them. Any of these teams could take it, and I'd be happy for them just because these teams all really impressed me this season. So I'm just excited to see how it shakes out.
Steven,
Fantastic, man.
you are the man. We appreciate you taking some time this morning. Enjoy the rest of the CWS.
Of course. Thank you all very much for having me. Have a great rest of your day.
Appreciate
you too.
it.
Steven Schoch, college, personality. That was the best way to say it, right?
Puff, pass. Let's go, baby.
We'll take a short break.
Rogers and Benning will be back in 5 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 4 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 3 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 2 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 1 minute. Rogers and Benning will be back in 30 seconds. Coffee and Cream with Rogers and Benning on Hail Varsity Radio.
No, Shane, you're up. Not me.
Are you going to kick my butt now?
Yeah, I mean,
that's what you said.
The break. I said, hey, Shane, I'm going to kick that little patootie.
I'm listening.
Patootie.
All the way back to
that is somebody that has nieces and nephews.
Dingman's Collision Center.
Yeah.
Would I have to call Dyra?
Hey, I thought she was coming to fix.
Probably.
I thought she was coming to see us.
I think she is soon. So what happened was last week when she reached out, we were going to be downtown, and then changes were made this week on the fly.
Uh-huh.
So I think she's going to come next week.
Okay.
I can hit her up though.
No,
you know what? Shane can hit her up.
It's flickering.
We text and DM, but she seems to be working through AR-15. So AR-15. We talked to AK-4 Channel 7. We're all about gun control, though. Stick to sports.
No, I'm all about the Titanic submersible.
Dude, I still don't understand that, but it's whatever. I'm just telling you,
here he goes,
bro. If I'm spending $250K, I'm doing what the heck I want to do, how I want to do it. I'm not traveling 7.5 miles an hour for the experience.
If you are spending $250K, man, you better be investing in something. Like you better be buying a house.
I don't just want the experience.
You better be getting, a private jet with your own pilots and
maybe 48,000 Jello shots.
No, not doing that either.
I don't think so.
I don't know what experience I would pay $250K for. I can't think of any.
Because the only things I really want to do would be travel, but it doesn't cost $250K
to
travel.
I can't think of anything of an experience that I would want for $250K.
The only thing I can think of is buying a house.
Yeah, but that's not an experience. That's an acquisition.
What about, okay, well, this could be considered an acquisition then too. You've always wanted to open up.
Nope, doesn't count.
No, that's an acquisition?
Nope. I'm talking about like going to Mount Kilimanjaro.
So you're spending money and you're done.
Yeah.
Like you have nothing.
For an adventure or an odyssey or
nothing.
I can't think of anything I would want to do that bad.
Would you go up to space?
No.
Would you race
Not
a car?
interested.
Would you race a car? As in, if they trained you and gave you a chance to race in a NASCAR type of level of an event?
Nope. Not even to go see a megalodon in the ocean and take an excursion would I pay money if I had it to spend? The risk reward isn't that great.
Would you spend $250K to go to the Masters?
No.
Would you spend $250K if it meant you had your own private grandstand at the Masters?
No.
Why? You're not around any people.
That doesn't float my boat though. It just doesn't. And I'm not.
Would you spend $250K to learn from the greatest culinary cook ever?
No, but at least you're closer.
Ooh, we're getting somewhere.
No, but I still wouldn't. Nope.
I'm trying to hit.
I don't want to be on Chop Set for $250K. I don't want to.
What if you had the full-blown Masters experience from the dinner to, like you said, the grandstand to you're sitting in the cabin afterwards, Butler cabin?
Shay, not a chance.
And then you get to go to the.
What does the dinner have to do with it? I just go pay for the dinner.
Yeah, but you're sitting there with Masters champions at the dinner.
Not my thing.
I'm trying to think if there's anything.
I'm being dead dog serious. Now you were at least made me pause for the culinary experience because that's a skill I could learn to take away with me.
Well, and you love to cook, so it's already hitting you in a soft spot.
Yeah, I don't, not a dating experience, not an outing, not anything. I don't like anybody enough for $250,000. I don't think, or anything.
I don't think it's worth it.
So you apparently would, because you're making it seem like I'm crazy. Like there's something you'd spend $250K to do.
No, I'm asking. So I'm asking.
So even even if you were like Richie Rich.
So I said the one thing I want to do is travel, right? So I could travel to a bunch of places.
So if they said, "Hey,
$250K,"
yeah. So they're like, "Hey, Andrew, for $250K, you could go to Atlantis and rent the place out by yourself and invite your friends."
How long am I staying?
I don't know. Like, you're paying $250K for that?
So you got me at renting the whole place out and inviting all my friends, because when I used to MC back in St. Louis and I would train the next in line at the Gateway Grizzlies, they would bring me for preseason baseball, but I didn't want payment for doing it. I wanted them to put my buddies up in an all-inclusive suite so that they could get, as tipsy as they want to and eat whatever they want to while I just did the job, because I cared more about their experience. So because you added that point in, you have me thinking, because I care more about other people's experience than my own.
Okay, that's cool, but not where I could lose my life.
But if I had $250K to spend like that, lose your life. Yeah. No one, I'm not doing it. I'm never going to space. I'm never getting in a submersible. I'm staying above the water.
Yeah. Risk reward just isn't worth it.
I'd like to touch the bottom, right? I'd also like to see the bottom. So put me in a pool.
He has an interesting one, but it's still a no. $250K to spend a week in season with Mike Tomlin, game planning and all. Now, that's at least something I would entertain. But no. I don't want to be there.
Say that one more time.
Spend a week with Mike Tomlin in season, and I get the game plan and everything else. Like, be a part of the game plan.
Are you not entertained?
Like, how much would I pay to spend time around Mike Tomlin? Not $250K.
But if it cost $250K, would you spend it?
No, even if I was a multi-millionaire and it was seat cushion money. I don't want to spend time. It's just not my personality.
Right.
Pressing.
I'm telling you. I'm a dude that would build a bunker and be at the house.
You got to be continually.
I'd have arcades. I'd have a place to hit golf balls against the screen. I would have a place where I could work out. I'd have a place where I could box.
So you'd spend $250K on that?
Yeah, on my own house. Oh, for sure. But
that still goes into that investment category.
So just get your mind around this. You're spending $250K on something you could easily lose your life over. It's dangerous.
I'm not doing it.
I'm not a thrill seeker.
I'm not doing it either.
The amazing Daniel brings up a good point. it'd have to be like at the tail end, like a final.
Yeah.
Like
okay.
He says 80. Gosh,
Yeah.
I hope you live to be. I hope you
Your
live
body
to be
will
more
be able
than
to
80.
do it.
Okay.
Yeah, you talking about the water pressure?
Yeah.
I don't know. I
maybe,
mean,
but you got to be in great
You
shape.
get a body scan. All of a sudden, doctors say you have a year to live.
Okay.
And you're a multimillionaire.
Okay.
No kids, just you. You're probably spending it $250K at some point.
Oh, for sure.
Right?
Yeah. For sure.
So what would that activity be for you?
I'm definitely going to hang out with sharks.
Okay. The best, with all the bells and whistles, you're going to do something.
Yep.
just like that.
I may go hang out with Tomlin. You know, although if I'm dying, I don't know what I'm going to take with me, but
What if you were
your pride, your dignity?
What if you were
I'd
musically
have none. People would probably be wiping my bum and stuff.
What if
like
you were
that.
musically inclined somehow? Like you could sing, like you like to sing, and you could.
But I can't.
You could do a full concert with whoever you wanted to do it.
Not my thing.
Yeah, I could
Not
see
in-
it though.
not in public.
In the hypothetical scenario, yeah.
Not-
If you were
not
a good singer,
I know I do it behind the mic, but the reason that I feel like I chose radio as opposed to doing TV and had plenty of opportunities to do so, I can still control. I'm still in control behind the mic.
Mm-hmm.
On television, I'm giving up a little more.
well, appearance is the big one. That you're
So,
giving up.
like, no, like I'm just kind of a baby, right? I joke.
Yet you want to swim with sharks.
That's not like. I'm just interested.
Not me.
Because I think there's so many misnomers, and I'm just dumb enough to think that I know more than the layperson about sharks.
Right.
I don't know more than the shark experts, but I follow shark experts. Like I read. I just want to know like the practical application of
That
it.
seems like a play stupid games, win stupid prizes activity.
Like my man that got chomped up in Egypt, like I knew it was one of two sharks right away, being in the Red Sea. Like I like stuff like that. I'm like, that was either a tiger or that was a white tip. It was one of those two things.
What if you could?
Which one was it? Do you
What
know?
if you?
Is a tiger.
What if you could put together a 5-on-5
And they killed the tiger. They're such idiots. I wouldn't kill you if I broke into your house and I was in your living room. Like, I'm not mad at you for that.
Well, that's what they do with
I'm in your
animals.
I'm in your house.
They do that with animals all the time.
Idiots.
Talk about Harambe.
I don't even know that dude. That's the gorilla,
He was a
right?
dude?
Oh, whatever. I mean,
Is he a guy?
According to some people on Twitter, I'm close. I haven't heard from that guy, by the way.
Yeah, good.
At least it was
Yeah.
a capuchin and not a gorilla.
I'm sure somebody got to him. 2 for you up next.
Rogers and Benning will be back in 4 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 3 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 2 minutes. Rogers and Benning. We'll be back in 1 minute. Rogers and Benning will be back in 30 seconds. Coffee and Cream with Rogers and Benning on Hail Varsity Radio.
Hey, let's take a moment and thank one of our sponsors because they make such a lasting impact in the community. Big Brothers Big Sisters mission is to support one-on-one mentoring relationships that ignite the power and promise of youth. Big Brothers Big Sisters of the Midlands targets the children who need us most, including those living in single-parent homes, children in foster care, growing up in poverty, or coping with parental incarceration. Bigs meet with their littles twice a month to do activities they both enjoy in the community, maybe getting ice cream, playing football out in the yard or attending a sporting event, something along those lines, because all that does at the end of the day is create those relationships, those connections with the kids that need us most. If you want to sign up, go to mentoromaha.org and become a big today. Something that I constantly say, man, I appreciate the heck out of everybody that does it, and it's something that I should definitely look into as well. I'll take self inventory on that because it really is such a cool organization to be a part of.
Yeah, and listen, if I cause any personal injury, trauma, stress,
no, never.
I go there sometimes.
Never.
If Emily's mad at you because you put her on blast for
telling her that she made a Twitter
just so she could chastise you about your facial hair.
I know, come on.
But listen, product liability, vehicle accidents, wrongful death, workers' compensation, you need to give the folks at Dyer Law a call. You can start with Thomas. You can pick anybody you want, but make sure you call 402-393-7529. Shane, you know the website. It's dyer.law.
If you're not
go ahead, talk to him. He didn't want to hear from you. He just.
I was just going to add one more thing. If you're not going to the CWS and you still want to get some baseball in you, go check out the Omaha Storm Chasers at Warner Park. I was there when the Redbirds were in town, and they just do it. They just do it right at Warner. Really good game experience, in-game experience for fans too. Go ahead.
They have good food.
They do, and a lot of
and they can roll through with the whole paperless thing with the transactions and cards.
A lot of so-called restaurants, I'm gonna call them, that you most likely wouldn't see at a baseball ballpark, or AAA ballpark, especially.
They're creative,
and then tons of great beer selections for those of you above the age of 21. And then they have Ashley loves to go there for the ice cream.
Yeah.
They have two different ice cream
stands. No judgment here. So, by the way, Mary Kate and Ashley, ice cream.
Lieutenant Dan,
ice cream. Better choice than your rice cake vibe.
Yeah.
Who in the world?
I still can't remember what that thing starts with the P that goes.
Why would people make a conscious effort to eat rice cakes?
All right, Shane, kick us off.
Now, one of Damon's favorite games and one of Shane's favorite games.
Is this the game where I have to write stuff down?
Well, maybe not so much Shane.
Yes, Shane. This would be the game.
Yes, it's 2 for you.
All right, let's do it.
Wow.
Hey, side note, last week, Friday, Cam was in to play Dog Eat Dog because we were on remote. And I said, Cam, we don't have an intro. I said, we don't have an intro for Dog Eat Dog. Like, could you do one on the spot? And he did it. And I'm like, we should just cut that up, Shane, and just use that for Friday.
Cam's a monster. And you know, the thing about Cam Lizzle is he doesn't give a what. He's so uninhibited It is just like you have to be careful with him, don't you, Shane? It's like if you put it out there and all of a sudden Cam will match you, and you're like, oh, that escalated quickly. So you got to be careful what you ask. Yeah, you got to be careful.
It definitely doesn't take long. Okay, let's play the game.
Look at my dude just out here catching fish. I think he must be a trust fund baby.
Why is everybody's name Degenerate?
No, that's still Aaron. It's the same.
Oh,
dude.
okay.
Yeah. It's the same guy.
I mean,
look at that
presented
thing.
by Dingman's Collision Center, family-owned, family-run local business for over 25 years. Take your car to Dingman's
Shane?
if you have a problem.
What is this?
It's like a crappie, doesn't it?
I don't know my fish.
I don't know. I'd probably pay about $250 to go do that.
250K?
Yeah.
What is
Oh,
that?
crappie.
Is that a crappie? Okay.
It's a big crappie.
It is. It's kind of gross. You can see the blood on it. There's some guy I follow on TikTok that fishes, and he teaches you how to get your hooks back with minimal amount of bait. Like, that's kind of his thing. You want to get your hook back and get it out of such and such. And I was like, ooh, that looks like it's pretty gross. You just jammed your finger in that fish's cake hole. But I mean, to each his own, man. To each his own.
All right, DB, you and me.
Don't people
we're
do that
getting
a lot,
back. We're getting back, right?
Yeah, I suck lately. My confidence
That's
is
okay.
shaky.
That's okay.
All right, I'm ready though.
1, 2, or 3.
My high school number 3.
Let's get it. Something yellow in the kitchen or in a kitchen.
Okay. You missed this one. You officially suck.
Is it you two guys?
Yes.
Is it you? Do you want to write something down?
It's not you, Shane. A famous person that attended the CWS.
I don't know any. Okay. All right. You good? Yeah. I'm not gonna get this, but it's good.
A brand of sunglasses.
Okay. Not getting this one either. Why do you laugh at me all the time?
Because I just love your reaction. Okay.
Dude, like what you see is what you get.
All right, and
Shane, I forget. What are the good brands again? All right.
Change it.
Yeah, this is probably more for people that look like you than me, but I think this is
Because I wear sunglasses all the time. I know.
I know you.
I hope you're choosing because I wear these sunglasses all the time.
I don't know, but you fit the description, so I hope it fits.
All right, name a city in Nebraska that shares the same first letter. So we don't have to get it right, but it just has to be the same first letter of a city. Does that make sense?
Yeah. They both have to start with P or
Yes.
O or L or whatever.
Correct.
Okay. I almost died here, so I'm going with this one.
What?
Yeah.
Well, now I got to think about that.
No, don't worry. Don't worry. I'm just talking out loud. We're going over. I officially still suck. It's fine. Emily thinks it'll be me and you together. And I can't win games and you can't grow hair.
All right, here we go. All right. Something yellow in a kitchen. 3, 2, 1.
A banana. It's the only one we're going to get.
1 for 1. All right. Good start. Good start. A famous person that attended the CWS. 3, 2, 1.
Forbes.
Peyton Manning.
Forgot about Peyton Manning. I'll own that.
Darn it.
We talked about him too.
Mm-hmm.
I brought that same conversation up to Sasha.
Did you?
Yeah. She owned it. No, she's just cool. Like, yeah. She's like, yeah, I get it.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of Peyton Manning.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. Why do you have Tennessee sweatshirts or
Sweatpants? They were $20 at a Nike sale one time.
They're just, most days I feel like I can't take you anywhere, but I would ride with you though.
A brand of sunglasses. Come on, DB. 3, 2, 1.
Oakley.
Ray-Ban. Son of a gun.
I put Ray-Ban first.
I know.
But all you guys wear Oakleys.
No, I wear Ray-Bans.
Well, you're a little GQ for your age.
Yeah, that's why I wear Ray-Bans.
And most people your age can't afford Ray-Bans.
That is true. They were a gift from my ex's mom, and I still have them.
Yeah, you should have trashed those.
They're $200 shades.
Exactly. That's my point. So I went with Oakleys. But I did have Ray-Bans first.
Yeah.
You like how I crossed that out?
Moral victory. All right. I don't think we're going to get this right because
we're not
I
getting
limited
anything.
the option here.
We're not getting anything.
All right. Name a city in Nebraska that shares the same first letter. 3, 2, 1.
Ogallala.
Osceola. That's it.
Oh,
let's go. Yeah.
You still only got 2.
That's a win, though.
I'll take it.
2 for you. Heck yeah.
I was kind of sweating bullets there.
Can I give you my choices?
Go ahead.
You always say this every week, Shane. It is so stinking cute. The floor is yours.
Oh, I don't know.
Can I share?
Okay, so what was number 1? Because I forget.
Something yellow in your kitchen.
3, 2, 1. Butter.
Oh,
Okay.
great call.
Okay.
I thought you were going to say it was your stained boxers.
Yep.
Oh.
Well, he lives by himself.
I go, yep. And just out of nowhere, didn't really process it until a half second later.
What was number 2?
Famous person that attended CWS.
3, 2, 1. Your mom.
Oh, no, he's mad. There he goes.
I might have changed that.
Okay, a brand of sunglasses. 3, 2, 1.
Ray-Ban.
All right.
You did. So I should have stuck with it.
I had Graves for that famous person.
Who? Kendall?
The Raising Cane's guy.
Oh, yeah. I
Never
forgot his
thought of
name,
him.
and I didn't know he
Yeah.
was the founder. But apparently he's rich.
And a city in Nebraska that shares the same first letter.
Gretna. Grand Island, Gretna.
I like
Okay.
how he like give us other options so that he didn't like sound like he didn't have a comparison.
Shane, for you, that's actually pretty solid. Although the Graves one, I wouldn't. I mean, that was
that's
kind of a
little bit
reach.
stretch, yeah. But I mean,
3 out of 4. Yeah, butter was sound,
That was a good answer.
right?
Not as good as banana, but it was a good answer.
Gretna's sound.
Good answer.
I would
That's
say
more of a guess.
more people probably have butter in their kitchen than they would have bananas.
You were
Overall.
probably correct. You're probably correct.
But
So butter. You're just simply saying butter's more universal.
But
when you
butter.
associate yellow with food or something,
Are
you
we
think
gonna act
banana.
like he just didn't say a mom joke?
Oh, I moved past it quickly because I don't know if he was talking about your mom or my mom.
Oh, they're both famous.
All right. The city in Nebraska where Shane's mom lives, right? Is that what we're going with?
Grand Island.
I almost said Whoville and made a joke about the Grinch and changed the city, but I was like, nah. Hashtag too
Hey,
soon.
Shane, Fahu Forays. Give me a little song.
Wow, you can't say that.
Why not? He said my mom. He made this personal.
It's all right. Be all right.
We
We ended how we started.
Yeah.
Flipping train wreck.
Kind of how we always end and start.
It's a mess.
Nothing new. We appreciate you joining us this morning. We'll be back tomorrow. Maybe.
Clear.